Hi, Christopher. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, you look good, and we can hear you. Yay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll stop in just a second.
Okay.
I can do that. All right. Thank
All
you.
right. Looks like you have it. Okay, see you in a few.
All right, I'm going to call our meeting to order. This is our regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Thank you for being here this morning. Do any supervisors have a moment of silence today? Not seeing any, we'll pass that. Supervisor Sabatier, can you lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any extra items not on the agenda?
Chair, no, we do not.
Thank you. We'll move on to approval of the consent agenda. I have a request to pull item 5.6. Do supervisors have any other items that?
I do have one. Look, I just marked it and it slipped away from me. 5.13.
Okay, anything else from supervisors? Not seeing any. Anyone in the public wish any items to be pulled from the consent agenda? Okay, not seeing anybody in the room, go to Zoom. Well, guest. Did you state your name and which item you're requesting that we pull? Not getting anything?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Go ahead.
Thank you, Angela Emerald. I'd like to request 5.7, 5.9, and 5.13, please.
Thank you. 5.7, 5.9, 5.13. Anyone else in online? No? I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve 5.1 through 5.5, 5.8, 5.10 through 5.12, and 5.14.
I have a motion.
And through 5.16.
Yes, so that, just confirming Supervisor Crandall, that left.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Is it one? Oh, I didn't see those. Yep, 1.6 as well. 5.15 and what? 5.15 and 5.16, sorry.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. And we will not be having actually, public input first. Do we have anybody in the room who wishes to provide public input today? Go ahead and come forward, sir, and state your name. And you'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Richard Schmidt, and I just wanted to thank whoever and all of you for paving Robin Hill Drive and Lakeshore Boulevard. It was the smoothest ride I've ever had in this county on the way here this morning, and that's all I got to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. Anybody else in the room that wishes to speak?
My dear wife just left the room, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. Good morning. I'm Steven Zerker, and Melody is out of the room at the moment. We both live in Sterling Shores. I'm reminded today about two scriptures, New Testament. Let us not love in word or speech, but in deed and in truth. And be doers of the word and not hearers only. These scriptures really are good because it shows action instead of just words. And we appreciate. We're hearing that you guys are really working hard on the RSO for us at the mobile home parks. I appreciate that. We're actually seeing some action come out, and we are grateful for that. Um, the mobile homeowners may be able to afford their spaces, the ones that are poor especially, they're really in need of these, the rent stabilization, and also a moratorium, if possible, if you could work on that. A moratorium on the pass-through fees that have already occurred. And so we look forward to July. That's when we heard it may go into effect, hopefully. And thank you for your work. We know you guys, are gals, everybody are working on it really hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Not seeing any, we'll move to online. iPhone 17 Pro, state your name, you'll have 3 minutes.
Sky Lewa, Pillsbury Family Farms. Last week, I found it interesting to watch the cannabis ordinance discussion because it revealed something the public has no idea. We heard Community Regulations Department with your attorney tax collector discussing and coordinating cannabis matters together. Attorney tax collector Sullivan has stated before that his involvement with cannabis stems from complaints filed regarding the Cannabis Equity Grant Program, double payments, and his role in cannabis was limited to revocation proceedings and taxes only. Which brings me to my first point. Last week, we heard something even more concerning. We were told there was a chance for it to come back in the fall when the ordinance might return. Think about that for a moment. Any private business operated this way would be considered dysfunctional, yet excuse after excuse continues to be accepted. My second point is Lake County's cannabis industry has effectively become a standstill since 2022. The purpose is to help guide the government towards better policy. If you're wondering why the participation in the cannabis industry has declined and why fewer people are applying, investing, or expanding, look at the uncertainty this county has created. People cannot build businesses around indefinite delays and plans around consistently changing expectations. And my third point, there is a consistent theme throughout many of the proposed ordinance changes. The county wants more oversight, more monitoring, more investigations, more authority, and more discretion for itself. But where is the corresponding due process protections for the constituents? Where are the appeal rights? Where is the requirement to identify a specific disqualifying conviction? And where is the requirement to provide notice explaining why someone is being denied? Today, an applicant could be told they are disqualified, yet neither the sheriff's office or community regulation is required to identify the specific conviction, case number, or court of jurisdiction allegedly creating that disqualification. Think about what that means, that a person can be denied access to an industry, denied employment opportunities, denied permits, denied investment opportunities, all without being told what is exactly disqualifying them. And what concerns me most is that these policies reinforce the perception that many people already have around Lake County. It gives off the good old boy vibes. And whether this board agrees with that characterization or not, the public concern is real. And perhaps you should add a new section to the cannabis ordinance that failure to comply with the good old boys may result in permit denial or revocation without explanation. But of course, that language would never appear. But yet, when applicants are denied the answers, denied transparency, and denied a meaningful path to challenge these decisions, that is exactly how the process begins to feel. So Director Turner has previously stated that the expungement does not guarantee someone a license or employment opportunity in cannabis. But at the same time, this county accepted Proposition 64 grant funding intended to help individuals overcome barriers to employment and rebuild their lives with obtaining expungement opportunities through probation and community regulation together. If expungements are encouraged with county grant dollars, but these same individuals can still be denied participation in cannabis industry without explanation, then what message are you exactly sending? The message that is being
Sky, that was your 3 minutes, be aware.
encouraged in theory and not in practice. Muleham.
Thank you. Sterling's iPhone, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning. I did email all you guys about the urgency of a energy policy. I do want to just reinforce that the AB 531 does state that when they do come in, that they would have to work with local agencies, and that explains even more why we need an energy policy, because it'll be in our 2050 general plan. And also on top of that, the more urgency of this energy policy is going to be these AI data centers that are popping up everywhere in the United States. I mean, what better spot to look at than Lake County? We have an abundance of water, we have the energy, we have the space, and I think right now is the time where we can actually take action and preserve and protect our community, not just for us, but future generations coming. So I really hope you guys do take this into consideration and understand the urgency, not just from one community member, but multiple community members. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else? You want to say something?
Yeah, just Mr. Chair, I've heard a couple of echoes
Yeah, I was
and
gonna bring that up,
repetitions.
too.
If anybody is on Zoom in this room, if you can,
I think it might be Marie's computer.
okay, well, I guess we'll be solving that soon.
Yeah, maybe we can mute her. Thank you. Thought I was hearing that. Yeah. Was there anyone else online, Carol? No. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. And our next item would have been Pet of the Week, but they're not going to be here today. They have short staffing and their officers are handling priority calls right now, so they're not able to come into the board. So that'll be passed, and we'll move on as soon as Sam should be able to just mute her on Zoom, right?
No, I did. There we go. I just eliminated.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to new and noteworthy at the library, which is our 6.3905 item. And we have our director online. Turn it over to you, Mr. Veach.
Thank you. So I'm Christopher Veach, County Librarian, Library Director of the Lake County Library. And thank you for giving me just a few minutes to talk about what's new and noteworthy at the library. This month, I want to highlight the novel Kin by Tayari Jones. Tayari Jones is a highly celebrated American author and a professor of creative writing at Emory University. Her previous novel, An American Marriage, won the prestigious Women's Prize for Fiction. Tayari Jones currently lives in her hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. In Kin, Joan tells the story about the lived Black experience in the mid-century Jim Crow South through its two main characters, Annie and Nisi. Both Annie and Nisi are motherless childhood friends whose paths sharply diverge, one heading to the affluent world of Spelman College, and the other searching for her missing mother in Memphis, testing the limits of their lifelong bond. Jenny Madela writes for the Southern Review of Books, at its core, Kin is an exploration of self-discovery, the brutality of racism and inequality, and above all else, a study of sisterhood, motherhood, and the unconditional love found in those relationships. Woven throughout the entire story is that indestructible need for a mother's love and presence. You can request titles like Kin through our online library catalog, which has the combined resources of Lake, Sonoma, and Mendocino County library systems. Requesting items is completely free to library patrons, and items are sent to your local branch for you to pick up. I'm also excited to announce that summer reading with your library has started. Adults, teens, kids, and pre-K should sign up online or at your local library location and enjoy reading more this summer. By signing up, you can earn points by reading library books. Once you reach 1,000 points, you'll have the honor of having your name placed in a brand new library book and get to be the first to check it out. This year, for kids, or anyone who wants one really, we are issuing a summer reading lanyard with a VIP pass along with a game card. For every 40 points, kids earn a sticker for their game card, and at 200 points, they get a pin for their lanyard and a stamp on their VIP pass. Teens and adults earn a raffle entry for every 200 points for a gift basket of books or other prizes awarded at the end of the program. All prizes are provided by the nonprofit Friends of the Lake County Library. To learn more about our library system, you can visit our website at library.lakecountyca.gov or come visit your local library branch in Lakeport, Clear Lake, Middletown, Upper Lake, or on the Bookmobile. Thanks again for listening to what's new and noteworthy at the library.
Thank you, Christopher. Do we have any questions from board members? Not seeing any. Anybody in the public? Nothing. Thank you for coming in today. We appreciate the information.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to our 6.4 907 item, which is presentation of proclamation designating June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth, National Freedom Day in Lake County. Supervisor Sabatier will be handling this one. And if there's anyone here for this proclamation, you're welcome to come up and join the supervisor.
Thank you, Chair. Proclamation recognizing June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth, National Freedom Day in Lake County. Whereas Juneteenth is the oldest national commemoration of the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States and is a profoundly significant celebration of freedom, symbolizing the end of the oppressive era of slavery in the United States. And whereas on June 19th each year we look back to this day in 1865, on which Union General Gordon Granger led troops into Galveston, Texas to announce the end of the Civil War and the insidious institution of slavery. Thousands of enslaved people in Texas, among the last to learn of their independence, were finally freed, more than 2 years after President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And whereas, over the next several decades, African Americans who journeyed out of the South seeking better lives brought Juneteenth celebrations with them. The thousands who settled in California, especially in Los Angeles and the San Francisco Bay Area, taught our state that America's struggle for independence did not end in 1776 or 1865, but continues to this day. And whereas we are urged to reflect on the ongoing cause of freedom and equality for Black Americans, remembering that though General Granger's announcement in 1865 called for absolute equality, that vision was and remains far from complete. And whereas, as we recognize the significance of this pivotal moment in history and its enduring impact on the struggle for equality and justice, we urge people of all backgrounds to continue the journey towards freedom. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Lake County Board of Supervisors does hereby recognize June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Lake County and asks citizens to celebrate how far we have come and reflect on how far we must go to truly realize our nation's founding ideals. Passed and adopted this 9th day of June, 2026, and signed by our board chair.
Thank you, Supervisor. Do we have any comments from board members? Thank you for presenting that proclamation today. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to comment? Not seeing any. We'll go ahead and close that item. And we're going to move on to our 9:15, 6.5 item, which is consideration of a presentation regarding a simple gesture food donation program. And we have Marie Schrader and Shannon Kimbaloth. Is she going to be joining you?
You can come up, yeah. Yes.
Now, hopefully everything's still online there, Marie.
So far, so good, I think. Let's see here. Let me get up to what I need here. I think that's where I go. We'll find out. Okay. It's up here somewhere. There it is. Okay. Now we can do this. Great. Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Thank you for having us here today to talk about a program called Simple Gesture. It was called A Simple Gesture, but because of a confusion with a group in Greensboro, North Carolina, we have simplified it to simplegesture.org. So that is the difference between what we've got, what was presented there. Okay, so this is a community-based food collection program that's helping address food insecurity throughout Lake County. Simple Gesture works at a very simple process. Residents fill a bag, and this is the bag that they fill, one of these, or a box with shelf-stable items, pantry items, and on a scheduled pickup day, they place it on their doorstep. Volunteers come by, collect the food, and leave behind a green reusable bag, along with a thank you note and a list of the most needed items for their local food pantry. The beauty of this program is that it's the simplicity. Donors don't have to make an extra trip, and food pantries receive a steady stream of donations from their own communities. So why it matters, we're really losing ground. Food insecurity is a growing challenge across America, and Lake County is no exception. While many of us never have to wonder where our next meal comes from, millions of Americans face that uncertainty every day. Funding reductions at both the federal and state levels are placing additional pressure on food assistance programs. Families with children are especially vulnerable. Let's see here. Many single-parent households struggle to provide consistent nutrition, and we know that hunger affects not only physical health, but also educational success, emotional well-being, and self-esteem. Often we hear the phrase, when you're hungry, nothing else matters, and that simple statement captures why this work is so very important. So California passed something called SB 1383 in 2016, which fines grocery stores for food disposal. They successfully redirected large amounts of food waste away from landfills and into food distribution systems. While this has helped reduce waste, much of the recovered food consists of highly processed products that are often high in sugar and low in nutritional value. Food banks and food pantries are grateful for these donations, but rely heavily on recovered food can create a long-term health problem for the people who depend on it. And I know from firsthand that some of this has come in the form of, I was at the food pantry when they opened up 2 big boxes of bread and it was all moldy. So not all of it is usable, okay? Let's see here, so there it is. Simple Gesture addresses this gap by encouraging community members to donate healthier pantry staples that families can use to prepare nutritious meals. So Simple Gesture, what do we do? It provides 2 things, reliability and quality. See, first, we operate on a predictable pickup schedule. Pantries know when food is coming and can plan distributions accordingly. Second, we educate donors, as we get here, about the foods most needed by local pantries. Every green bag includes a current needs list, helping direct donations towards nutritious, high-demand items. And several pantries, whoops, I think I went too far. Let's go back. Can we go back, Mike? Oh, well, I can do this. Several pantries have reported that the volume and quality of food they receive through Simple Gesture significantly reduces the amount of food that they must purchase themselves. But today, purchasing is still needed because our impact or our request for services has gone up dramatically, especially with the latest cuts in funding and in food, funding that people are experiencing with regards to food stamps, and now WIC is going to be impacted, it appears, as well. So they continue to have to purchase, but what's really wonderful about this program that I've experienced through the local food pantry here is that it frees up funds to bring in to purchase the things that they really need for their people that they serve. Okay, so that's a really, really good thing for them. So the funding, the value of funding, Simple Gesture is really good. It's value. So traditional donations are important, but once they're consumed, they require replacement through another donation. Simple Gesture focuses on building a sustainable donor network, that a food collection system that continues generating food month after month and year after year. For example, $1,000 in donor development can create approximately 65 active donors. Those donors generate, let's see if we have 1,000, for food banks, 1,000 will buy $2,000 to $3,000 of food at retail value, about 800 meals. And once it's consumed, it's gone. It's an endless cycle. This is the way that we're doing it. We're building a food machine, something that keeps on giving. In our system, $1,000 brings in about 65 donors. Each of those donors will donate about 6,552 pounds of food for a year, or those 65 donors. That is how much food we predict will come in, which is valued at $14,400. If this repeats, which we anticipate that it will, for an average of 5 years, that's $72,000 in food that's done, and 29,000 meals. So, in other words, we are not simply buying food, we're building a community-powered food generating machine that is going to bring donations to our local food pantries. So how we do this is that we have a bag that they get when they give us a donation. That thank you note is stapled to the bag, which tells them, very nicely, thank you for your donation, but it also tells you when the next pickup is. If they don't leave a bag, we leave something called the Sorry We Miss You, which gives them an opportunity to be able to know when the next pickup date is going to be. But they can also use one of the QR codes to either make a monetary donation, or every single one of those food pantries actually has an online store in Amazon where people can go and purchase specific items, pay for it, and it will be delivered to our food pantry directly. And we have actually experienced that a lot up here at United Christian Parish, which is where the local food pantry here is in Lakeport. So that's they were shocked. They couldn't believe that was happening, but it does. So the nuts and bolts of our operation is the app that we have. It's an app that has been designed through many different trials and errors to be able to give a user experience on both the donor's part, the people that are doing the pickup. So on the left over there, you'll see that is what the donor is going to see with regards to when they sign up for the program. It gives them a lot of information. They can actually track how much food that they have donated through that app. The middle one is what the drivers see when they're out driving around. Each driver gets a route that has been routed through the system and made as efficient as we possibly can. You'll see that it says each one of those places, little entries for a person, has got to open in Google Maps, so you get turn-by-turn directions on how to get there. And once they get there, they log in how many bags that they have picked up from that. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see that's a map that I see, or any of the chapter administrators see, where they see exactly which person and what their route looks like overall in our system. So it's a really good app for being able to track all of this and be able to make this as efficient as possible. Okay, so these are statistics that I have put together since we started this first in October with one chapter in Lakeport. Now, the number of donors that's listed up there are current numbers. They are not numbers that we started with or anything like that. So you can see how many people are actual donors in each of the 5 chapters that we have here in Lake County. But you can see the numbers that are under the months. Those are the number of bags that we picked up every single month using this program. So you can see the total at the bottom. And you see that where it says number of pounds that we have picked up. That is determined by the Redwood Empire Food Bank, and food banks across the country have determined that one bag of food is about 14 pounds. And after doing the pickup myself, I can tell you that a significant, and Shannon will agree because Shannon has driven for me, that a significant amount of them are much heavier than 14 pounds. And I had two big boxes that I could barely even get into my car this last pickup last Saturday. But you can see that overall, for the entire time of the program, which has been about, 9 months, we've collected 1,163 bags, which totals 16,282 pounds of food that have been delivered to our food pantries. So running a chapter is something that we try to make as easy as possible. There's no cost to a chapter that other than financing donor development. So that would mean that a chapter, the person who's running a chapter, I have 3 of us run 5 chapters because I run 2 of them. I'm trying to find someone who will help me in Clear Lake at the moment. So if you know someone who might be doing this, it's really not difficult. It's just a matter of making it available to, to your drivers. So other than donor development, that is something that, might cost a little bit of money. Redwood Credit Union has provided the bags and financial support to Sonoma Simple Gesture. They actually, through the funding that they have given us, we have purchased the bags, and we also have developed the website and the operation with regards to the computer program that operates our program. And that's constantly being refined. This program that we have, it is in Marin, Sonoma, Lake, Mendocino, and Napa counties, that 5-county region. We are actually a prototype for something that they hope to be able to make a cookie cutter program across the nation, so that we can make a substantial impact on all of this. So the strategy is leadership to get people that are ahead of our chapters, our chapter leaders, to be able to have them promote the program through their methods of being able to do that. They also help with driver selection and support of the drivers, so that if a driver suddenly can't make it, I have had to fill in for drivers. I have driven almost every route in our county picking these up, so I know what this is like, kind of thing. So it's really fun, but also developing donors in our county. Those are the things that are involved in running a chapter. So growing the program is the issue that we have right now. Lake County has approximately 240 active donors. We have about 26,940 households in the area, which if you take that 240 donors, it's less than 1% of our population in there. The target, and this is a number that is given by the food pantry, bigger food pantry organizations, is 8%. That is considered saturation. If you have 8% participation, that's considered saturation in your county for a donor program like this. But that would mean 2,155 donors. Can you imagine what we would do if we had that? Okay, so if we had that, look at the amount of food that we could possibly collect per year and the value that it would have. It would be significant. So we need more publicity to increase our donor base, is what we're looking for here. So the methods that we have used to grow the donor base is there's something called the Green Apron Project, which is when we partner with businesses and community organizations to raise awareness. We also use social media. In fact, in Lake County, I have relied almost explicitly and 100% on social media to get the word out there. I am a member of, I can't tell you how many groups on social media, and I share a lot of information out there throughout our county, but Simple Gesture is one of those that I really push very hard, and many of the people who have signed up have come to us that way. We also do tabletop presentations at community events, so that people can actually see us and talk to us, because we find that to be the most successful way of getting there. And we also have something new that has neighborhood canvassing. It's called Join Your Neighbor. And so what we're going to start doing is taking a little brochure and putting on people's houses to say, people in your neighborhood are in this program. Why don't you join them and help us, and be part of this project that we're doing. Okay. So I think that's it. So that's my last slide. So Simple Gesture has proven that small acts repeatedly, consistently by many people can create a significant impact. In just a few short months, we have collected more than 16,000 pounds of food and established a sustainable system that can continue growing for years to come. But the question is, what can you do as a Board of Supervisor? You can show support of the program. I will tell you personally, when I started this in October, I actually started late September of 2025 with it at United Christian Parish, because that is our local food pantry here. My goal was, because I'm a very goal-oriented person, was to get 25 donors by the 25th of October. And I was going kind of slow. What really pushed it over the top was when Chairman Rasmussen posted it on his platform on social media. That pushed it over. I had like 40 at that point in time. So and your posting about it, I know that he donates every single month, and he takes a picture of it and puts it out there and promotes it as a leader in our community. That makes a huge difference. I would invite all of you to ride along on one of our pickups. I'm going to tell you firsthand, I had 18 houses that I went to last week, and my car was so stuffed with food that I probably could not have taken another rider in my car. But having someone with you that you can drive up, and I'm going to tell you, it becomes kind of a game to spot the green bags because they put them in different places every house. That to spot that and have someone else jump out, get it, put it into the car, it speeds up the process. You also get to learn about where people are that are donating. It's a fascinating thing to me, as that I remember the very first time that I did this, it was the height of politics in our community was really, really high. And I was so gratified to see that I could see people who were flying Trump flags and people who were flying pride flags and people who were flying democracy flags. All of them were giving to this program. And it was pretty equal, it was just really gratifying for that. All of you also have inroads to many different gatherings around our community and many different organizations. And so if at any of those that we could present about this program, we would welcome that opportunity. So that's what you can do for us. Simple Gesture is a nonprofit. We are a 501c3. I do write grants for this and have several grants outstanding right now. There are three of us that are on the board of directors, and we're all writing grants. So far, the grants that we have received are specific to Sonoma County, so I don't have monies here in this county that I can spend on this. The thank you notes and the sorry we missed you cards I've been printing out of my own pocket. So if there's any kind of way that we can get a little bit of money to be able to fund, just even the printing of that would be great. But other than that, I just wanted to come and, tell you a little bit more about this. I know I did it during public comment one time, but a little bit more in detail about this program. So, any questions?
Thank you, Marie. Do we have any questions or comments from board members at this point?
I just want to let you know that I'm impressed with what you're doing. And thank you. I want to say thank you. A lot of work and from the heart, grassroots, and
Yes.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. And Shannon has done a lot with regards to food donation in this county well before me. So she has helped me, teamed up with me, helped me with a grant writing class so that I can do it better. But did you have anything you wanted to add?
The other thing that I wanted to mention is that it is enough to feed the hungry. Like, that goal all by itself is fine. But another aspect of this that I want to call out is that this is an El Nino year. It is, in the Atlantic, expected to provide good things, fewer hurricanes. It only takes one. But on the West Coast, in an El Nino year, we are expecting to see the hottest year on record ever. We know that extreme heat causes a higher mortality rate and incidences of disruption. And I'm not only talking about power safety shutoffs, but also in Lake County, for example, we have one of the highest cardiac events each summer when we have extreme heat events in the state of California. We have a large number of people that live in manufactured houses that do not have air conditioning, so they will see increased. So you know that I have been part of the Resilience Center project. One of the things that we did in Humboldt County as part of their resilience strategy was we were able to purchase them a Connex box where we pre-positioned food. So if somebody has to get to a point in an extreme heat event where they're choosing between paying for their electricity and having a chance to survive the extreme heat, or purchasing food, we would like to help that by figuring out how we can, through our food pantries, pre-position food so that it is available in times of disaster. Now, right now, none of our food pantries has an excess of food that would allow them to pre-position that food. We do have one of the resilient centers, which is Cobb Mountain Lions Club, which believes that they could fairly quickly do 100 meals if asked, in the event of emergency. If people lost power, because we've gotten them resilient power, they could do those meals. But our goal would that every food pantry in the country in the county would be able to partner with one of the Simple Gesture food pantries and have enough pre-positioned food that they could do an MOU with the Resilience Center saying that they would be able to provide 100 meals. That can only happen when the program increases. So they're not at that place right now. But what I would like to suggest to you is that supporting a Simple Gesture, increasing the knowledge about it and the donors, and also particularly helping to find somebody for the southern route in Clear Lake. Having picked up that route, I can tell you it's definitely harder than Lakeport. But the goal is that we would be able to pre-position food in these pantries for all of the resilient centers so that each center, when it is asked to open, has the capacity to offer meals and that they don't have to say, no, sorry, we don't have enough food in our stock. So I just wanted to encourage you to think about it not only in terms of feeding an immediate need, but in terms of disaster planning and more particularly this summer as we're going into a time of extreme heat, how critical it will be. So my encouragement to you as Marie is to share it on your platforms, but in addition to that, it is to help us find the leadership to make this work. For me to drive the Clear Lake route, I've spent 2 hours driving to collect 7 bags of food. It needs to be somebody in Clear Lake. The program needs to be locally supported. And that brings me to the last piece that I want to do, which you have all heard me say before. We are the help that we are seeking. There is nobody outside of us that is going to come in and solve all of our problems. So for that reason, the Simple Gesture chapters need to be hyper-local. They need to be operated, supported, and run by people within each neighborhood, not Marie doing the entire county. So my encouragement is to you in your town halls and your local meetings to support Simple Gesture just by sharing the information because it will help your people and your constituents.
Absolutely. And
Thank
one of the things that comes to mind is that I've already had a request. We have 5 chapters. And by the way, we are the first county. No other county can claim this, that every zip code, this is all done by zip code, every zip code in our county is covered with Simple Gesture. So if you are anywhere in our county, all you need to do is go to joinsg.org and put in your zip code, and it will put you right into the correct one that is serving your area. We are 5 chapters. We serve 7 food banks at this point in time. There are 2 food banks along North Shore. I have had a request for a 3rd on North Shore because it is so long, and people just in these high gas prices cannot afford to get the gas to go to one of them that's a distance away. So we've had in Clear Lake Oaks, there's been a request to get another chapter there. So we are working on that, but we need more donors in that area to be able to support that. So it's kind of this is our cycle that we go through. We want to be helping. And I've stood outside grocery stores and told people about this program, and the response is wow, you're making it really easy for me. Yes, I can do that. I have not had very many people say, no, I'm not interested. So people out there want to help, and we're trying to make it as easy as possible for them to do that through this program. So, and you can help us with that through example, and let us know about places that we can come and present this information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and open it up to the public. Do we have anybody in the room that wishes to comment? Not seeing any in the room. Do we have anyone online? No? Well, I appreciate you doing the Supervisor.
Sorry,
Brown.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I know that one of my town hall members, Lisa Benavides, is doing this as well. She posted it online, and
Yes.
and so it's good to see some of that to action right there. And so I know that we'll be trying to help with other people in the community as well to help out.
exactly.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and bringing Pastor Shannon for support. I know she's been involved in the food programs for a long time, but I think we can, there's things that we can do to help support the program, which maybe even getting you out to all the town halls, the 7 town halls.
That
So
would be very well.
we'll follow up on that.
Okay.
And appreciate you coming in today.
Thank
for
you.
this. Thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Yes,
Would any of you like to join a route on July 11th?
on July 11th.
That's the next distribution.
Next distribution day, I'm happy to give you a
Yeah.
ride along.
Yeah, I don't know what's on my agenda yet.
Maybe send us all a message and
I
we'll see
sure
what we can do.
can. Yes, absolutely. Because you really learn a lot when you go out and do that. It's pretty amazing. And you know, one of the other things, I don't know if you've ever seen, if you've ever been at our food pantries and seen and have witnessed how much food these families get for, you know, their once a month that they can go, because they can only go and claim food once a month. I don't know about you, but it would not even feed me for a month myself. And we're giving families of 4 and 5 and 6 a small box of food. This is not by any means giving them a tremendous amount of food at all. It is bare minimum of what they need to be able to do that. And the other thing that I've experienced is that I've had seniors recently with the high cost of gasoline calling me and saying, I'm out of food and I don't get my check till next week. What do I do? So I've connected them with food pantries. So the high cost of everything is hitting everyone, including those on food stamps, because those food stamps don't go as far either anymore. So this is a critical program, and that's why when I saw this program, I thought, we need to bring this to Lake County.
Well, thank you, Marie. Appreciate you coming in, and we're going to need to move on to our next item, which is 9:30 item, consideration of presentation provided by Lake County Water Resources regarding the LG Sonic harmful algal bloom mitigation project. And we have our Water Resources Director and staff here. And I'll turn it over to you when you're ready, Director.
So I'm sharing the screen. Good morning, board. My name is Pawan Upadhyay. I'm the Lake County Water Resources Director, and I've been joined here by
Katrina Ward, Water Resources Technician.
Yeah, so today we are here to give a presentation about the Clear Lake Buoy harmful algae bloom mitigation project, which is about to go on the ground on the implementation phase pretty soon in a couple of weeks. So first is like a brief overview of the technology. So how it works is these buoys, which would be placed on the lake, would emits ultrasonic waveforms, which prevents the algae from rising in the water column, which starves them from sunlight and photosynthesis. So which basically prevents it from multiplying them and growing it further in the size. The other thing is, like, we also need to monitor the water quality at the same time, because the data which we are collecting informs like what type of ultrasonic treatment would be emitted from the buoys. And from there you can see on that first picture there, that's the buoy, and then on the water side there, those are the emitters which is emitting the ultrasonic waves from there. The next one is, so this is located right west of the Lakebird Park in Clear Lake. So it is like the west and southwest or northwest part of the lake there. And you can see probably the north side is like where the Austin Park is, south is like where the Redbird Park is. So it's roughly that area on that part of the lake. Here is like a big overview of the, so you can see at the bottom right, in the lower lake arm, this is where the LG Sonic Buoy project is. And you can see in the Oaks arm, that is the another project which is called HOS oxygenation project, which is being led by UC Davis. So that's in the Oaks arms right there. So it's like a separate project. This is how the LG Sonic Buoy looks like. So this is roughly 8 feet by 8 feet in size, and then height is roughly like 3 feet, and the weight of the thing is like 440 pounds. And the features would include ultrasonic algae control, these buoys require a minimal maintenance. They are remotely operated, and in total we have about 14 buoys which would be placed, and out of 14, 2 would be the one which will also collect the water quality data at the same time in the real time and transmit it back to our office. So this is like on the left side you can see like how that the buoys will look on the water. So this is a pilot project which is designed for 24 months, even though it will operate longer than that, but that's the test period we are looking at. And we will measure its effectiveness in the water quality data which would be collected at the same time. The overall goal is to reduce the harmful impact of blue-green algae and the cyanobacteria in the lake. On the right side, that big picture is like one of the demonstrations, one of the site in Ukiah. There is a water treatment plant which has this buoy in place, and it has some impact in preventing the growth of the algae there. So we are hoping maybe similar kind of result or better results we'll get here in the lake. Here is a CEQA and NEPA process, because the funding for this project has been provided by 2 different sources, which is one from the HUD and the other is from which is Housing and Urban Development, and the other is from California Natural Resources Agency. So here you can see, like, because we have to go through both the CEQA and NEPA process, so it took us almost a year. Like, we started in April 25. That's when the process started, and there is different timelines, different milestone we achieved. In May 4th, that's when the notice of exemption which was filed, which is the last step in CEQA and NEPA process. And since then, since 30 days has passed, so I think now the project is ready to go on the ground. We are just waiting on release of the funding from the funding source. As soon as it's released, we are good to go and implement the project. Here is an overview of the funding sources and the amount. So we have received about 981,000 from Housing and Urban Development, which is the California Housing and Urban Development, but it seems the ultimate source of that funding is coming from federal sources. That's why I think we have to go through NEPA process. And the other 400,000 is provided by the Blue Ribbon Committee, which was initially submitted but then revised because we got some of the funding from HUD. So that was revised to 400,000, which includes maintenance, monitoring, impact on the hitch, and maintenance. Those kind of tasks included in that 400,000. So safety and navigation, I think this was the big concern, which was when we gave this update about a year ago. So we met with Sheriff's office. We had a discussion with them, making sure like we are addressing everything we can. So these are some of the measures we are taking, which includes adding a reflective tape to all the buoys, buoys marker with the county of lake ownership as well as the sheriff's department identification. Hazard buoys would be placed at each of those right next to those LG Sonic buoys location, and hazard buoy itself implies that there should be a reduced speed whenever somebody is close to those buoys. And then there would be also, we are planning to put a marked navigation channel. And the main goal to have that channel is because there won't be any speed restriction within the channel. So people can still go through from the Redbird Park or other locations like where they are launching and then go at their normal speed. And those navigation channel will have the reflective tape marked on it as well as solar light for the night. And in this one, you can see this is our navigation channel, which is red and green. So that's the channel in between. This channel is roughly like 2 miles long, and there is a buoy every quarter mile. And the gap between those red and green dot is roughly 200 feet, which is good enough for both like going and coming, like the navigation. So. And one thing I will say, like maybe the size of the dots in there looks a little bit larger, but they in reality, like when you go on the ground, I think that's very important point to mention, because here it looks like little congested, but this is like very far away. Like once you are on the lake, you won't even realize like this is like this close. So another part of being the safety and making people aware is like our ramp signs, and we have one of the signs here. You want to show this thing? Yeah, so this would be posted at like all the public ramps. You want to show it there for the camera? I don't know whether we are on there. Towards that. Yeah, a little bit more. Yep.
Perfect.
So this would be posted at the ramp signs, and then we will be posting, like giving out the flyers at the public ramps. Our ramp monitors, they would be handing out flyers to inform the public. We will also mail out the flyers with our annual lake bed leasing, so people are informed. And also we will do the Facebook posts, radio ads, as well as like as soon as we know the fixed date of project going on the ground, we will also do a county press release so that the information gets out. And as part of our monitoring program, we will also do like visual inspection every 2 weeks, just to make sure that buoys are in place, like wherever it has not drifted or any other issues with them. We will check them out like after any big like weather event, which includes high winds or any other, let's say, heavy rain or any event which happens. We will make sure that we will make a trip out there and check them for any disturbance or anything. We will check with them for about the debris removal, anything which has accumulated near it. And we will also check for the navigational light, which would be placed on the buoys itself. Yeah, I think that's all I have for this project. If you have any question, we can take it then. Thank you.
Supervisor Spatier.
I'm just excited that we are at this point where we're coming back, we're ready to go, and still a little bit of a mystery of what the impact will be. I know what we've been told, and I appreciate you showing Ukiah. I know we've talked with, I believe, Sean White, who runs that facility out there in Ukiah, and it seems to be working for him. Very much smaller body of water, but we're looking at 14 of these as well. So, no, I'm excited. I want to see these out there, and we'll have to iron out some kinks and figure it out as people get used to being out there. But really, I'm just hoping for a great summer with a little bit decrease of algae. It doesn't need to be perfectly clear to the bottom. Probably don't want to actually see the bottom, but it would be nice to make the impact that we're being told it will have. So thank you so much for the work, and looking forward to it. And one more thing, I know I've mentioned it before, I'll just mention it here, that one of the other outreach is hopeful that that same presentation could be provided to the Clear Lake City Council, because it's another venue and platform to make sure that folks are aware of what is happening right in that region, since that's where the impact will be.
Yeah, we will make sure probably we present there as well. And they have been great partner. I think we have been working closely with them, and hopefully everything goes out smooth.
They're excited about it too.
Yeah.
Supervisor Owen?
Yeah, this is pretty exciting. I think, has the oxygen started over by the super site already, correct?
No, so that would be the UC Davis project, which is in the Oaks Arm. That
Yes.
will happen maybe in about a year.
Oh, I thought it was I thought we had several projects coming in this year. I know that we had mentioned monitoring to compare the different avenues and the different systems to see what was most effective. So what other ones are coming this year? We did the pellets, is that correct?
Yeah, so we did the one, the phosphorus mitigation project, which is on the upper arm. That was a county project, and this is also a county project. I mean, led by the county, and then there is another one which is on. So the phosphorus mitigation was in the upper arm. This one is in the lower arm. And then in Oaks Arm, that's the UC Davis oxygenation project. But I think it's going to be about a year before it's on the ground.
Okay, I misunderstood that. I thought that was happening this year. I think there was some harvest. Do you remember the harvest one where they were going to harvest the?
They are looking at that in the Clear Lake area, the algae harvester as well, I believe. I don't know if that's Blue Ribbon Committee or not.
It was, I believe.
Yeah, that's the Blue Ribbon Committee funded.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. But are you keeping track of all of these
Yes.
and monitoring to see which is most effective?
Yes, we are in touch with them, and we have coordinated about like how we will differentiate between the like which technology is working more effectively, or like how do we differentiate between whose impact this would be.
Okay, and I thought there was a total of 5 different projects.
Well, there's the nano bubbles that.
That
it's
was the other
still
one.
Yes.
asking for
Yeah,
approval.
that one just got approved, so I think it would be a year to more, maybe 2 years, like by
Okay.
the time that is on the ground.
That Green Solutions.
No, it's a different
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I remember the nano bubbles. So, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I was just, this is good stuff, and I hope we get some results and we can compare apples to apples and see what's really working and which direction would have the best solution.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great exciting time. We have like 2 projects on the ground already, including this one in next few weeks. So that's great to have.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Crandall?
Yes, while we're waiting for a couple other big projects that should help with the nutrient load and harmful algal blooms in the county, in the lake, this is going to, be interesting to see how it works. Clear Lake needs it. When you drive over there and look into that channel that it's going to be in, it really does need something like this, or even the oxygenation if that was going over there. It's something that, you feel bad for the people who live over there and have to, so I think just to see how this will work, and then knowing that the other project will come to fruition, to see how they both work out for those channels. I don't know if this is going to be a silver bullet or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be that, but at least to see how it'll help will be really good for, be really good to see, so. Thank you for giving the presentation and letting people know how it's going to look.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, like, because our lake is huge, so these are like a pilot project. So we are not expecting to like these projects to solve all the issues,
Right.
but to find the thing which works here. So I think that's the main objective. And then once we figure that thing out, maybe we can scale up in the next phase of these things. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to, at least final comments, I want to thank your department. There's been a lot of work being done. I want to thank CDD. I know they've put a lot of effort in going through the process for CEQA and NEPA. I want to thank Sheriff Bingham and Sergeant White for working with you guys from the Marine Patrol perspective to figure out the channel. That's my biggest, not concern, but kind of wondering how that's going to work out compared to what people's habits are when they dock out when they launch from Redbud Park. what their expectations will be and how they interact with that. That's where we'll iron out the kinks as we figure them out. But I'm just glad that we've been able to, and the city of Clear Lake, as you said, also as a partner, like their logistics of helping out, making sure that it's going to be easy to deploy and manufacture these right there on the Thompson Harbor. It's just been a team effort. It's been a very long time coming, and it's definitely not the silver bullet. To me, these are Band-Aids on top of the official problem that we have with our lake. And as we continue, we'll get a presentation later of Middle Creek, which is a much more permanent solution. Again, not the silver bullet either, but these are things we're dealing with for health reasons, economic reasons, and just to be able to keep good vibes and good opportunities when you're working or living next to the lakeshore.
Supervisor On?
I had one last question I forgot to ask, and that was, I know that there's 12 of the ultrasound buoys, and then I had spoke to you yesterday because it shows 14, and so 2 of them you had mentioned are actually monitors. And are they going to be separated and placed at the lower arm and then up closer in the northern area of it?
So those are those are included in these 14. So
Yes.
I'm not very sure like which 2 would be that, but it would
Okay.
be.
But they'll
like,
separate them?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one would be probably towards the north, one towards the south. So it's like,
Okay.
distributed,
That's what I was-
collecting the data from all throughout. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the room? Not seeing anyone online? Guest, go ahead and state your name. You'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Director Upadier, for the update. And I appreciate you mentioning inspections after wind or other weather events. Will the buoys be anchored in any way to prevent migration or movement in high winds, water turbulence, and wakes from the boats? And also, will flyers be distributed to fishing tournament organizers at that point when they're beginning organization so that they're aware? Thank you.
Yes, so these buoys would be anchored with a 225 pounds anchor, as well as I think there is another one like which is like screwed in. So it should be permanent in place, but we will also keep an eye on after any weather event. So just making sure they are in the place where they should be. And yes, there would be flyers distributed to the like the directors or tournaments.
Okay, anyone else online, Carolyn? No, so go ahead and close public comment. Bring it back to the board. This is presentation only, so we won't have any action to take. Thank you for coming in.
I have one more, I'm sorry. How long did you say this would be in for a year?
So this would be for 24 months, so for 2 years.
2 years?
But we are hoping probably it works. It would be, because we are purchasing all these, so it would be there for as long as these keeps working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Do we have a time estimate on the 10 o'clock timed item? Do we have an estimate on the length of time to present the 10 a.m. public hearing on the air quality budget?
2 minutes?
15, okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and call a break then first. We're going to be on a 5-minute break. You can go ahead and get set up, and we'll handle yours when we get back.
And more coming.
We're going to call our meeting back to order and move on to our 6.7, 10 a.m. item, which is a public hearing, setting as the Lake County Air Quality Management District Board of Directors, LCAQMD, fiscal year 26-27 draft budget hearing for budget units 8799 and 8798. And we have our air quality management staff here, and I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning. I'm Doug Gerhardt. I'm the Air Pollution Control Officer. There we go. Good morning. I'm Doug Gerhardt. I'm the Air Pollution Control Officer, and I have Elizabeth Knight, Deputy Air Pollution Control Officer, with me to go over this. And I have just a little presentation. It's not an online presentation, but to go over the budget issues and kind of the important things, and then we have some informational items so we can kind of break it up into two sections. The fee update will be kind of covered in the informational items because we're doing an annual update to the board on the status of the fee rule. So that's in the informational section. So at this point. So the Lake County Air Quality Management District maintains an active and effective air quality management program to protect the health and welfare of the populace of the Lake County Air Basin. Now, this is a shared mission of state and federal agencies. The district has responsibility for stationary air pollution sources in conformance with district, state, and federal mandates. As a result, Lake County has been designated attainment for all state and federal air quality standards for around 35 years. So the district currently has 4.8 full-time staff positions. Staff performs air monitoring, source testing, equipment and source audits, rule development, permitting, air toxics, rankings, reporting, inspections, complaint investigations, enforcement activities. The district regulates primarily stationary sources of air pollution, including geothermal, mines, gas stations, asphalt plants, concrete plants, serpentine activities, outdoor burning, diesel engines, dry cleaners, manufacturing facilities, paint and body shops, and a number of other facilities with potential for air emissions. The district operations are supported primarily through permit fees, carryover from special projects, operating transfers from 8798, state subvention, civil fines, and few other categories that make up the balance. The appropriations remain similar to prior years, with minor changes resulting from needs of new staff. So we have increases in clothing, personnel supplies, which are safety equipment, administrative charges, specialized services, insurance, software subscriptions, and equipment replacement, showing the majority of the increases. The carryover funds result from salary savings over the prior several years and are considered one-time funding. These funds would normally be transferred into reserves through board resolution, but as staff time is limited, we have prioritized the public health and safety issues as well as fee rule implementation, which includes a review of every permit and every source of air pollution in the district. This is ongoing still. We hope to be finished in August so that invoicing for permit renewals can go out in September. The district budget incorporates the proposed increases to district staff pay, which was not increased in the last year with the MOU adoption. The budget also includes a senior air quality engineer, which we hope to recruit for during this coming fiscal year. Our attempts at rehiring our former senior engineer have failed, even with the incentives offered, as the pay was not adequate to overcome other offers that he was reviewing. So, as part of the district hearing, the draft budget hearing which is in compliance with Health and Safety Code 40131, the district has the following items for the board consideration and several informational items. We'll go through the informational items in a little bit. First, this hearing is to review, take public comment on, and consider the draft budget for the Lake County Air Quality Management District for fiscal year 2026-2027 in compliance with Health and Safety Code. The final budget is to be considered for adoption at a later date. We recommend the Board of Directors approve the fiscal year 26-27 draft budget as proposed by the LCAQMD. Second, state subvention is perpetually on the chopping block, and in previous years this has been reduced by 30%, even though CPI and workloads from the state have increased by well over 100%. As the state continues to pass programs and enforcement requirements to local air districts, we recommend the Board of Directors continue to be on record as opposed to any further state subvention cuts to local air districts. And third, the district is mandated to enforce local, state, and federal air quality laws, rules, and regulations in order to meet and maintain attainment status and protect public health and welfare. As such, much of the district's activities are mandated. We recommend that the Board of Directors continue their policy directive of health impacts, health risks, health-based complaints, and mandated programs requirements be given top priority, followed by activities that have regulatory timeframes and other funded activities. So with that, those are the main items, and then we have the informational items. So if you want to break this up, or you want me to continue with the informational items first and then cover everything at once.
I think go ahead and continue.
Okay. So the next section, these are awareness items, both new and continuing. The new fee rules are being phased in as adopted. As the fee rule was not adopted until September 2025, many stationary sources have not paid an increased annual renewal fee. During fiscal year 25-26, the sources that have been affected by the increased fees are burn permits and retail gasoline stations, permit applications, serpentine and asbestos notifications, seek reviews, and area sources. All sources have been notified of fee increases that will occur in 26-27. No permits have been dropped as a result of the fee increase. Some permits, we believe it's 4, have been dropped, and these were resulting from equipment removal, not from the fee itself. So sources went out of business or equipment failed, so they dropped their permits. The fees collected thus far have helped reduce the one-time funding utilized to maintain a stable budget. The revenue projected for fiscal year 26-27 should support the hiring of an additional staff person once the annual permit renewal fees are paid in this fall. During fiscal year 25-26, revenue from burn permits increased approximately $75,000, which more closely covers the actual cost of the program and will help cover the costs of the online permit system upgrades and ADA compliance modifications that are required for fiscal year 26-27. Secret review fees increased to roughly $5,000. Asbestos notification fees increased to about $14,000. Area source fees increased to $1,000. Serpentine test control plans increased to $1,000. And the change of ownership and other administrative charges increased $23,000. Permit applications increased $10,400. And retail gasoline stations increased $33,000 for the annual renewals, which included the initial step of the fee increases for retail gasoline stations. These areas make up the bulk of the revenue increases this year. Now next, the geothermal operation, or B, the geothermal operations in Lake County are changing. The Geysers Air Monitoring Program is undergoing major changes. And as part of this change, the district is taking on the contract manager role from Northern Sonoma County, AQMD. Staff has started implementing the change and will be requesting a meeting with the ad hoc committee in the near future to discuss changes to the MOU so that we can have those discussions before we bring that back to the board. The state legislatures and the Air Resources Board's one-size-fits-all districts philosophy, sorry, that's a tongue twister, continues to manifest itself in all kinds of program elements, from monitoring open burning air toxics and a number and timing of inspections, complaint responses, greenhouse gas programs, and other non-program specific activities. With our current staffing and workload, we are unable to stay engaged with the with and encourage the state to recognize that Lake County's rural attainment programs need to be different from urban programs in order to be effective and efficient. When staffing and workload allow, the district staff will re-engage with state and federal officials to ensure attainment and rural programs are represented. Air toxics and other Air Resources Board mandated programs and elements. Air toxics reporting and actions under the state's mandated reporting requirements have significantly increased workload for district staff and businesses throughout Lake County and will result in the required permitting of smaller sources each year. Each year, additional sources are being added to the mandatory reporting program by the state. So each year, additional workload is added and incorporated, is added to incorporate those new sources into the program. Staff continues to work on the annual hotspots report, which generally takes 3 to 6 months to complete. In addition, there are several other emissions inventory programs that all require different data sets, different source types, and have to be completed separately. So each section of the state requires a separate program or a separate report, and they want separate things. So it always makes it fun. In the coming years, EPA is mandating an asset management program for all air monitoring equipment. This will require tracking, reporting, defined repair frequency, defined useful life, and replacement schedules. Currently, the district has over 15 devices that are likely to fall into this program. Each device costs between $25,000 and $50,000. So a 5 to 10 year replacement schedule is a significant financial impact. The district does not agree with EPA's policy that to replace equipment just because it's reached a certain age, especially if the equipment is still certified and operating effectively. Guidance on the end-of-life replacement requirements is pending, but in preparation of future replacement requirements, staff is working to build the air monitoring equipment reserve to ensure funds are available when and if mandated replacements occur, or should equipment failures or other upgrades be needed. Replacing all of the bare minimum necessary equipment that we have at our monitoring station is more than 10 years old, will likely cost over $200,000 at the moment. So if we had a failure or the monitoring station somehow something happened to it, it'd be over $200,000 to replace that. Particulate monitoring program, the federal and state quality assurance requirements for mandated air monitoring is increasing annually and requires considerable staff time to ensure we maintain our attainment status designation. Maintaining our attainment status is essential to retain local regulatory exemptions and alternative compliance options for businesses, agricultural options, and local government. Due to the significant number of wildfires and smoke events in prior years, EPA and the Air Resources Board denied our waiver request made in 2025 to continue our 1 in 6 monitoring schedule. That would allow us to continue with our existing monitoring equipment. The district will be applying for that waiver again in this coming year, and hopefully that waiver will be granted as the wildfire data should have fallen off from the data set that they review for that determination. If it doesn't, then we will be required to upgrade all of our particulate monitoring equipment. The ozone air monitoring programs are still being significantly impacted by changes at the Air Resources Board. They are no longer providing calibration and support services for our ozone systems. And this will result in the district purchasing additional calibration equipment and hiring additional staff to perform calibrations and data audits of our own data sets in order to comply with the state and federal quality assurance requirements. The equipment purchased may exceed $100,000 to meet these new requirements. These duties must be performed by a staff person that is not the operator of the equipment, so our staffing needs and which adds to our staffing needs and technical skills requirement. So the operator can't be the auditor, can't be the calibrator, so you have to have different people doing each of those duties. So in summary, the proposed budget units for the district are currently balanced. However, costs have increased significantly over the past 5 years. The fee increases that were approved in September 2025 will assist the district in funding the required the required additional staffing for state and federal mandates. The district budget is balanced with both salary savings and the new fee schedule. The above actions and action items and informational items are presented to prepare for future costs, impacts, and workloads. So,
That conclude at this point, so we'll go to supervisors for questions. Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
Yeah, it's a little rough at times when we go through rate increases and kind of flex what's brought to us because it needs to have a little bit of a softer landing for those that are going to have to pay some of those fees. And obviously the course that we attempted to do was to keep you in the black on year one and then continuously review and offer those other increases to get to the 100%. Seeing that you have approximately $600,000 as a fund balance carryover, which has multiple reasons as to why that is. Some of that is salary savings because you didn't have a full team at the moment. Still don't have a full team at this moment. Seeing how you did not touch your reserves tells me that we didn't do something wrong at this moment in time. It doesn't feel like we did something wrong, which is good because you never know, right? I think it looks good as far as what your financial status is for your department at this moment. I guess I had anticipated and I had forgotten that it would be on a rollover of July 1st for the other increases to occur, but that's October. So you and I had this discussion and just want to let the board know that I'm hoping either at mid-year being the latest or as soon as available, the data is available, to review what does that next 10% look like in increasing your budget, what is the needs of the department for that budget, and do we continue to allow those increases? Because at this moment, it looks like it's working, but you also don't have everything you need in order to fulfill all the requirements coming from the state. And I want to make sure that we don't get ourselves in any situation where the state's changing our attainment status or giving us any fines. I know one of the things that I want to see from your department in your capacity and capabilities is I feel like it's an arduous chore with the limitations that you have for fines and penalties and follow-up of those sorts on notice of violations, and hoping that we can get you there, because I know there's a lot of other stuff that's mandated for reporting, which is not necessarily just those follow-ups. That's I don't have a problem with the budget you're proposing. I'm seeing positivity from the changes we've made and want to continue to make sure that we take a look at it and hoping that those timelines can be met for either after October or at the latest mid-year budget to look at it. That's all.
Any other questions before we open the public?
I think Mr. Bruno covered it for me. I'm hoping that we don't have to continue to increase since we're looking good, but we're going to have to reevaluate at mid-year, so.
Okay, let's go ahead and open it to the public. Do we have anybody in the room? Not seeing any. Do we have anyone online? Go ahead and state your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, can you see me? I'm in Pennsylvania. I've never joined one of these meetings.
We can see your name, so you're good to go.
Okay. There isn't, I'm here my name is Will Landstrom. My wife and I, we have a house in Clear Lake Oaks, which by the way, we're moving back to this year, but we're here in Pennsylvania we've been here for the last 2.5 years.
This is for the next item, I think.
Is it for the notice of assessment and lien?
No, we're on a budget hearing right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. So do I
stay? We're gonna put you back on mute, and the next item is the one you want to talk about. The next item. Okay, go. Guest.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and board. I just have a couple questions for the residential permit fee for 2026 went up to $63, which is almost double. It was $34 before in 2025. It was a flat rate for residential ag and smoke management plan, flat rate $34. This year, $63 for a residential permit, almost double. Agriculture permit, $94, almost 3 times the amount. And a smoke management plan fee went from $125 to $625. My question is, what is the residential and agricultural permit fee for 2026 and 2027 going to be? What is the difference in permit purchases between 2025 and 2026? Was there a decrease in the number of permits purchased? My concern is due to the price. Residents are opting out of burning, myself included. I did not purchase a burn permit this year because of the price. Fortunately, there's a mastication project going on in my area right now to mitigate some of the fuel loads. But moving forward, I am concerned about this price for a residential fee, and I hope that it can be looked at again. Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on, do we have anyone else online? No. Okay, Director, do you want to comment on any of that?
Well, the fees for the coming fiscal year, they are changed they increased by CPI. So we don't have the April CPI yet. We're required to use April to April as part of the Air District's health and safety code requirements. So as soon as April CPI is available, then we'll know what those are. But I'm assuming that'll be in that 1 to 2% range, because that's typically what CPI has been for quite a few years. So.
Okay. Supervisor Owen.
If I recall correctly, back in September, we took the maximum that you had asked for. We didn't increase the we didn't break it down. We set it at what you were asking for at the 100% on the burn permits. Therefore, I don't think we're looking at any increases on that. I didn't realize the smoke management, that was something I overseen. I just didn't realize that. But I think on the burn permits, it wasn't supposed to ratchet up. It was supposed to stay there.
Yeah, the burn permits went up to their full amount, because under health and safety code, it is only permit renewals that are phased in. So renewals of existing sources get phased in. Everything else that is adopted, it is the fee that is adopted. The CPI is an automatic thing, so that's just the consumer price index increases that occur for pretty much every fee that you pay any governmental agency. So everything gets increased by CPI. So that those didn't. There's no ratcheting up. It's just the CPI increase on burn permits, just like every other fee. But the smoke management plans, it's $125 for a pile burn, and it was, I think, $188 for standing brush. But that is permitting by the acreage or parcels that you're burning on. So if you have, if you're burning, it used to be we would consolidate a lot of things and try and do it, the efficiency, but it ended up being we were spending a lot more time because we're trying to be efficient, and it ended up being the opposite. So now we're charging for each burn location, and that's the way the program's designed and supposed to work. So if they're paying $650, that means they have 3 or 4 separate parcels that are being burned on as separate smoke management plans.
I see. Okay.
So it's adding up to that
So
total.
it's up to, but it could be less. Is that what it, okay.
Okay, yeah, because
Right,
that was a shock to me when
so
that was
that-
stated. Okay,
Yeah,
By
so
parcel.
it's the number of parcels, not the,
okay.
yeah.
So if
And
you
then-
just had one parcel, it's not going to be 620.
Right. Right.
The question?
And I know that we took that into consideration when we did the breakdown, but overall, I do want to continue to focus on, because I heard you use the words, we almost, or I don't have the exact word, but it almost pays for the program with the increase in fees that you received. If we can't pay for the program, then the program doesn't exist, and then we can't ensure that people are doing things the appropriate way to make it safe for their neighbors, for themselves, and so on and so forth. And so I think it's important to, yes, it's never good when things increase, but it's also not good to lose programs because we refuse to increase. And so Unless there's another way that we can, and it would be one-time type of money for grant funding that can help out with those things. We need sustainability in the program, and so I would like to keep hearing about, is it paying for itself, or are we still struggling? Because we did move it to the 100%, where now it's only the CPI that would take care of it. So I think it's an important program to ensure that it is not something that we will have to use general funds or anything else, one-time money to support. That's just not the appropriate way to do that, so.
And just as a response to that, I would love to find a grant program or something that would pay some of those costs down for people, but at the moment, we don't have that available to us. So in the future, yes, we would love to find that.
You may have just manifested it.
So.
Supervisor Owen?
Yeah, I don't know if have you guys looked for those programs first? The second thing is, I believe that you had stated that some of this money that you needed, it did pay for the upgrade in your computer software to be able to do the permits online. And I'm assuming that's a one-time fee with maybe a yearly, I don't know if you are charged yearly then for the software. So I'm thinking the bulk of that is probably paid for now, so the prices may be able to not be as high.
Yeah. The software itself there's annual costs that go to maintain it annually, because it's a local company that they hire out, but they are local, and then they have to do the upgrades. They do every year. We do upgrades to the system, try and make it better. So we're paying a fair amount every year, but this year we have the ADA requirements that are hitting, so that we have to pay to make that burn permit program ADA compliant, so that by the time we open the program in the fall, it'll be fully compliant and we won't have any issues, because it is an online system and we are a special district that has to be ADA compliant. So now, there's a significant cost with that's coming. So we keep being hit with interesting surprises.
Sure, thank you. I know we've been hit with some interesting complaints about the fee increases.
Yeah.
So we just sort of don't want to,
Right.
have to do any more than we have to.
Yeah, and with the burn program fee was adopted back in 2003 or 4, and it was adopted with the presumption that the fire agencies would do the burn permit issuance and they would keep the fee. And we do the smoke management plans, but we accepted, in order to get the fee to pass, the district said, we'll take the $34 or the $20 at the time fee for the smoke management plans, which are the most complicated, to offset, to ensure that there is a fee passed that would cover some of the costs. So we've been eating that fee, basically coming up with other ways to fund it, subvention through other revenue sources, and for years, and that's just, all those options have dried up. So that's where we came out now of, we have to actually pay for the program what it is, because there is no other option now, and everything is audited so much now that there aren't any options for even flexibility. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So with Supervisor Sabatier, you were requesting, I guess, like a mid-year review?
Well, we had already requested the review for the fees on an annual basis, based on what direction we gave when we approved the new rate fee structure, if I'm saying that correct. And I'm just saying, at the very latest, I hope to see those by mid-year budget, but they could be earlier depending on if they're ready for it.
Okay. All right. Is there any other comments from board members? And I believe, did we open to the
Mr.
public?
Chair,
We already did, right? I did
Public
I
comment.
think, yeah, you did. We got comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the fiscal year 26-27 draft budget as proposed for the district.
Second.
I feel like I
One second,
missed
hang on.
something.
Mr. County Counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just as part of that motion, that would also consist of the approval of budget item numbers 8798 and 8799.
That's correct. Thank you for that revision.
The motion's amended, and we still have a second?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, that carries 4-0.
And then I move that the Board of Directors will continue to be on record as opposed to any further, and opposed to any further state subvention cuts to the district, and is in support of the district pursuing increased state subvention funding to cover legislative state mandates, and to continue their policy directive that health impacts, health risks, health-based complaints, and mandated program requirements be given top priority, followed by activities that have regulatory timeframes and other funded activities.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that carries 4-0. And we'll go ahead and conclude that item. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. And at this point, we're going to move on to our 6.8, which is a 10:30 a.m. hearing, consideration for lien hearing on account and proposed assessment of abatement costs for properties abated under a Cal Recycle grant. A, location 4789 Abbott Road, Lucerne, APN 033-191-15, property owner Carolyn Williams, TTE. B, location 5009 Dunstane Road, Lucerne, APN 033-192-11, property owners Michael Braley and Paul Hudson. C, location 5055 Dustane Road, Lucerne, APN 033-162-35, property owner Amon Etkitz. D, 12574 Mountain View Drive, Clear Lake Oaks, APN 035-20133, property owner Janess and Cheryl Kircher. E, 12584 Mountain View Drive, Clear Lake Oaks, APN 035-20135, property owner Welbert and Eddie. And this will be handled by Community Development Department. Do we need to swear witnesses on this one? Yes. So is anybody in the room or anybody online that's going to testify on these items will need to raise their right hand. If you're on Zoom, use the raise hand feature. If you're in the room, please stand and raise your hand, and the clerk will administer the oath.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and start with the Community Development Department. Director Turner, are you going to be starting?
Thank you, Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. Our Cannabis Program Manager, Marcus Beltramo, is getting our PowerPoint presentation set up. It'll just be one moment. We're new at the new process. Have we joined the meeting yet? Sir Kranik. Joining a CDD.
Oh, yeah. I think that's it. Are you logged in as CDD?
Yes. Thank you.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, lovely. Got it. You're gonna need to share your screen. Yeah, we just have a lot of things to click. We're almost there. You need to. No, close. Are they saying we need an account? Oh my. We're opening. Oh, what? Yeah, let's see if we can bypass that. Sorry, it'll just be a moment.
Are there any quick pulled items we can handle while we're waiting? No. And we only have access to the PowerPoint on their laptop at this point.
New process.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm aware of it. Let's go ahead and try the plug in the flash drive in if we're hung up on trying to get it pulled up. Okay. Let's try the old process for now.
Yeah, go ahead. Next meeting, this will be a well-oiled machine. We'll have it down.
All right. Sorry, are you ready for me to continue?
Yes, please.
All right. My apologies. We will get this sorted out and have this better prepared for our next presentation. My name is Marcus Beltramo. I'm the manager of the Code Enforcement Division for the County of Lake. Today we come before the board to request approval to record liens against properties in which abatements were performed. All the properties here today were identified as part of a Cal Recycle grant that we obtained. We've had a previous hearing regarding Cal Recycle properties that we cleared for illegal dumping, and this is another set of properties that we're coming for in front of the board to hopefully approve for us to go ahead and record a lien against these properties for the abatement costs and the administrative costs. All right, so all these properties were previously identified. I believe there was about approximately 45 to 47 properties identified throughout Lake County that we identified with illegal dumping or dumping on those properties. We applied for a grant from Cal Recycle, received that grant, and these properties are part of those properties that we couldn't get voluntary compliance, or there was no responsible party around to clear for it or pay for the abatement costs. As you can see, most of these properties, they just involve regular dumping of household garbage, miscellaneous materials and rubbish, and vehicles. And I'll just kind of go through the pictures real quick. You have the memo with the photos in there. You've seen these pictures before. These properties are in Clear Lake Oaks and Lucerne. Again, just trash is randomly dumped. This is Mountain View right here. This is the photo after this site was cleared. Mountain View is, in my opinion, the #1 illegal dumping spot throughout the county. Has the most continuous and habitual dumping of any site that I'm aware of in the county. This was really, when we went to get the Cal Recycle grant, Mountain View was one of the major reasons that we went out and got this grant, because we routinely have to clear this area up pretty much annually. And to subsidize our costs, we had to go and get a grant. There's another photo of Mountain View. As you can see, it's just a road, basically one way in, one way out. And as they go down the road, it's almost like a drive-through. They pull up, they dump their trash. To the left side of, you see the corner in the left picture, there's actually a ravine on that side. And they dump down the ravine, which actually has tributaries, which actually waterways that go into the lake. So that's another reason why Mountain View is such a critical or a dump site that has creates a health and safety issue for surrounding areas. The photos below are the cleanup of the Mountain View property. Staff is just recommending the Board of Supervisors approve the following liens and amounts and direct staff to record a lien against the property with the Lake County Recorder's Office. After recordation, the lien shall be delivered to the county and shall be entered on the lien on the tax rolls as a special assessment. I do want to state there's a property owner here today that will be testifying. His name's Mr. Landstrom, I believe. Mr. Landstrom has agreed to pay for the cost of the abatement. We have a payment plan in place, but for the purposes of the lien, we have to record the lien today. Then we will do that payment plan, and once we have that payment, we'll then release that lien. But he still would like to speak here today. But again, we're just asking the board to approve code enforcement to record a lien against these properties for the amounts stated, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. And so we paid for the work with the Cal Recycle grant?
Yes.
So these liens, when they get payment on them, would go back to Cal Recycle?
So it's my understanding that we front the money, and then as we submit the invoices, we get paid back.
Okay. But then, so we've already been paid back potentially on
When we submit these invoices, that's when we receive payment, is my understanding.
Okay. And then at some point, Cal Recycle gets money? Like if we recover for what we spent and Cal Recycle reimbursed us, does then any recovery go back to Cal Recycle?
Yeah, so what it is we record this lien. Cal Recycle, in essence, is paying for it. They're covering the cost of the abatement. We will get the money from Cal Recycle. To get their money back, or to secure their money, we are to record a lien against the property. Cal Recycle will be named in first position on that lien. The County of Lake will be named in second position. Cal Recycle will get the abatement costs. The County of Lake will recover administrative costs.
Okay, that covers it. Thank you. Do we have any other, Supervisor Crane?
Yeah, just Johnston is where Robinson Road is, and it's in those hills. I know that that's a highly dumped area most of the time. Mountain View's also been one of the topics of discussion in Clear Lake Oaks, and I know that since you're using Cal Recycle funding, just a question is, would Cal Recycle funding would a expenditure for a gate be something that would be capable?
So as part of our grant, we did include the cost to put gates in on Mountain View.
Mm-hmm.
So the money is there to install the gates. We're trying to work through the legal aspects to see if we can install gates under the laws. We're looking to see if we can install gates. Obviously, we're trying to do it the right way. We're working with the county council's office to see what is the best option to install those gates in a legal manner. Go ahead.
At the latest discussion I had with county council, we need to secure agreements from every single property owner along that road. That's going to be problematic. But, in around 2008, the administrative office did install a number of gates and had keys available for any property owner that wanted access. But I'm not sure how they went about doing that, because we haven't been able to retrace that path today in order to install a gate to fix this chronic problem.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from board members of staff before we open it for property owners that want to testify?
I would like to know about cameras as well. I know the gates are a great idea, but also cameras to catch them in the act.
So we've explored cameras, and we actually experimented with trail cams and other cameras. The trail cams, we couldn't capture any vehicle information due to the glare at nighttime. Most of the dumping occurs at nighttime. We did capture some very nice video of bears rummaging through the trash, if you would like to see that. But it didn't seem viable. Also, we had the Dark Sky Initiative. We looked around at options to where there were motion sensor detectors. It would kind of set off a motion light. At the end of the day, it all kind of came back to, given the rural and the isolation of the area, that gates is just the best way to do it. You close it off, you seal it off. What is happening there is they are driving up the road, driving onto Mountain View, dumping, and then exiting off to the Stubbs Road area. It's literally a drive-through where they are dumping. And like I said, these have environmental impacts. It's habitual, it's common, it's been going on since I've worked here. And we do need to find an answer to this. It does create a public and health safety issue, is an environmental issue. And let's be honest, and if you put it in context, that road is only used for dumping and sometimes for people to take walks along. But those people are no longer walking along that ridge to enjoy the views of this county because it's being dumped on.
Sure.
I also want to add, we don't know what kind of chemicals are being dumped. Vehicles are being dumped there. We recently had a fire, so now the issues up there are creating a fire risk. In my opinion, I think the health and safety issue on Mountain View is paramount, and Gates, I think, seems to be the most reasonable, cost-efficient way to resolve the matter.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions before we open it? Okay. How many people did we have online that wanted to testify?
There are 2 people with their hand raised.
Okay. So we'll go to the first one, and please identify the property that you're speaking about, that you want to provide testimony on this for action.
So, am I, Will Landstrom here? I don't know, do you see me, or does that not matter?
No, we're not going to see you. We can hear you. We can see your name. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. So first off, the man that was just speaking, I forget your name, but yeah, we did discuss this, and I want to be clear. Well, yeah, we're going to take care of this. We're actually with you. You know, we're not going to. We don't want gross garbage all over the place.
You please identify which property you're speaking about.
Oh, okay. 12584 12584 Mountain View Drive.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. And what was already said is basically accurate. You know, you can guys, you put a lien on our property, and then we'll, try to pay down the debt. That's fine. But we can't pay it all at once. That's a lot of money. But I just wanted, for the record, really just state a couple of facts that are kind of germane. I'm not going to dispute this. That's not what I'm doing. But just for the official record, if you look at the thing that's included that's called the notice of nuisance and an order of debate, it has the wrong address. It has the wrong address listed as the owner, now, and person. In fact, that's not us. So the reason why that's particularly important is my wife and I, who were have been in Pennsylvania for the last 2.5 years because of my job. We first found out there was even an issue only about a week ago. Had we found out, we would have taken care of it. We would have hired somebody to go down there and just clean this stuff up. That just for the record. I mean, that's kind of germane here. No way in the world would we have ignored this. That's point one. Point two is, when my wife and I bought this property, we paid a grand total of $1,000 for it. It was just, we saw an ad somewhere, and I think on Facebook and Marketplace, I think. And you want to buy a little piece of property for $1,000, so why not? So we paid, and why that's germane is because after we got this little piece of land. I spent multiple times going down there with a GPS trying to find this 12584 property. I could never find it. I just kind of gave up after a while because the GPS just kind of conked out after a while, and I didn't even know where it was. And the garbage that you pictured I actually saw that. I mean, yeah, yes, you're correct. This has been going, but I had no idea that that was our property. I mean, I just, there was garbage there. And I didn't want to trespass. I mean, so now that those pictures have been taken and we got this information, I think I kind of know where this property is. So that's probably a good thing. But so long story short is that yes, we'll take care of this, in payments now, okay? But go ahead, put the lien on, to get the whatever you have to do to get that ball rolling. But we were utterly in the dark about that. There was even an issue. We didn't know where the land was, and and the very first time we were in that we got any indication there was an issue was like last week. Okay, because the information in the abatement it's not correct. That has the wrong owner names and the wrong we don't live in Washington. Okay, it has an address listed in Washington. Okay, so basically that's all I wanted to say, really. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I believe he's referring to the mailing address, and that has to be updated with the recorders in the tax collector's office. So we go off whatever mailing address is listed with county records, I believe is what he's referring to.
So we were sending it to what the county has.
What the
He's
county had
saying
at the
that
time, for whatever
never
reason.
got it because that's.
I'm going on, I don't like to do assumptions, but I'm going on some belief here. The notice of assessment did get to him, so whatever mailing address was on file did get to that address. So we mailed it based on what was listed with the county records. The property owners have a duty to update their addresses with the county, and usually we're pulling from our internal megabyte system, which usually is property tax information.
Okay. Any other questions on this particular property before we move on to the next? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a comment of observation, I guess. Great job for cleaning up the properties, number one. Number two, it's not the first time that I've noticed this in the attachment for each of the properties for the cost of the abatement in the process. I still, like, this was my comment last time, there's 4 different, there's tech, there's officer, I forget what the third one is, and then there's manager, and I'm just never seeing code enforcement officer being charged for any work. It's only tech and then the supervisor and the manager. What exactly are our officers doing is the question in my mind, because I'm not seeing it in any of the last 2 or 3 assessments that we've done, and it would be a cost that is a little bit less when some of it is just simple office work. Sometimes it's field work. So it's a question you don't have to answer. I think that's more of a comment that I want to make, and then eventually I think during budget times it's a better question to ask and look into. But it just concerns me that I'm not seeing code enforcement officer in any of the last few assessments that we've done.
I would like to try to offer a response if I could. There was 2 things. One, you did catch there was an error on the rates for the manager part of it.
And I appreciate that you changed that.
And we did correct that, but the other rates were accurate based on a formula that we've been using, that's been in place for a while now. The last few abatements, those were done by program managers, program coordinators. And that's why you're seeing the program coordinator fee. In this case, Norman Valdez was the program coordinator for the illegal dumping program. And that's why you see his time and the tech time. Our program coordinators have caseloads and they oversee programs. I think that's the reason why you're going to see another lien hearings coming up on the 23rd. And those are done by our program coordinator, Chris Colin. So you're going to see his time and our tech's time. I'm certainly on board with you with costs. I think that's something that we, whenever there is an issue with costs, I always err on the side in favor of the property owner, if that ever comes an issue. But if there's something that we need to work on, something you would like to see, please let us know. We'll take that. Part of this process is for the board to be the check in the system and to make sure we're doing our job. And if we need to be better, and that's what we need to do.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next person, and please identify which property you're testifying on.
Well, now we have guest who wants to speak.
Our guest, would you be attempting to provide public comment, or are you a sworn witness for one of these property?
I think it'll just be a general public comment.
Okay, so stand by then. Let
Yes.
me see if there's any other persons that were sworn that want to provide testimony. She's, okay. Okay. Okay, so everybody that was sworn to testify on this item has concluded. So I'll open it to public comment here shortly, but is he got, did you want to provide any further information? I'll give you a short time to.
Yeah, very quick, and then I'll be done, I promise. I think I discussed this also with the code enforcement. I forget your name. I'm sorry. What is your name again? I apologize. Okay. I forget your name, but we talked on the phone. The other thing that's just so I want to make this clear too. My wife and I are not going to be back in Clear Oaks until the end of the summer. Okay, so if anybody throws any new garbage there, we won't be able to have it cleaned up until we get back, okay? Because we won't know about it, all right? So we're not gonna get like double penalized, are we? We can't control that out here. I mean, when we get back there, if you guys don't put up a gate, which I hope you do, by the way, maybe we'll just cordon off ourselves or something, but we have no control what happens with any new garbage, right? I mean, that's obvious, right?
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Supervisor.
I feel the need to respond to that comment. If you own a property, there's certain responsibilities that come with the property. I used to own a property somewhere where I paid somebody every 2 months to go in and do some weed whacking and vegetation clearance and just making sure it was clean. Whether it's a vacant lot or not, it's still your responsibility. If there's new garbage, that has impact on other folks as well. And I don't think it's a double penalty, but making sure that your property does not have a nuisance is part of the responsibility of being a property owner, no matter what that property is.
Go ahead.
Mr. Landstrom illustrates a good point regarding much of the ownership of the parcels in this area. They're owned by people who are out of the area. As he said earlier in his testimony, he doesn't even know where his property actually is, which is a common issue with all of these paper parcels since there are no survey markers. That's one reason why Mountain View really does need to be addressed as our top chronic dumping location, because yes, as Supervisor Sabatier illustrated, every property owner is responsible for this dumping. They're not there. So it is an ongoing issue that does require more tools in our toolbox to be able to address.
Thank you. And we're dialed in, so he's getting his notices at this point.
He received the last notice, the notice of assessment,
Okay.
and that's what prompted him to call me, and then we
Okay.
had our conversation, and we're gonna do our best to work with Mr. Landstrom.
Right.
But, like Director Turner said, I think he's illustrating the fact and the need. This is a different situation, just a residential property. This is chronic habitual dumping, and it's gonna be on after we cleaned it up, within 2 weeks, they had redumped on it, and a car was set on fire.
Right. I think we understand that at this
Sorry.
point. Go ahead, Supervisor Owen.
You know, I have been a victim of illegal dumping as well on my property. I got together, and it didn't just affect my own property, but my neighbor's property. I did get together with those people that were past me, and we put a gate in ourselves to stop that from happening. So I do understand, and it's really a shame that the victims of the illegal dumping are held financially responsible and responsible to remove the garbage. So I would highly suggest, if the county cannot put in a gate, we put in the gate ourselves to stop it on our property, the dumping. And then we actually had to clean it up, and we cleaned up our neighbors as well. So just food for thought on that, because I do, I've been there. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go ahead and open it to public, general public comment. And do we have one online? Guest, please state your name and go ahead with your comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Angela Amaral. I will be speaking as the East Region Town Hall Chair today, and I want to thank Supervisor Crandall for bringing up the gates on Mountain View, and thank you to staff for researching great gate installation. as it has been an issue that Earth has voiced concern about over the years. I'd like to read a letter that was sent on March 5th, 2025 to Marcus Beltramo and Director Turner. I won't read the entrance of it because it just states what Earth is. I think you all are familiar with it. The letter went on to state, along with Stubbs Road, Sulphur Bank Drive, and Junction Plaza, Mountain View Road has been an ongoing issue for decades. Numerous cleanups, both by the county and volunteers, have taken place, but due to the rural location, minimal traffic, and easy access, the problem continues. This is a major health and safety issue and an ongoing community problem, which is further compounded by a seasonal water course that carries unknown debris down into the Keys and Clear Lake. We understand that part of the grant requirement includes deterrent measures to prevent future dumping. In the past, the county installed gates at 6 major dump site locations in Lucerne paper subdivisions, with a letter going out to all property owners and the key being held by the fire department. Earth is requesting the installation of lock gates at both ends of Mountain View, which is also a paper subdivision with no residences. Keys could be issued to the North Shore Fire District, the Clear Lake Oaks Water District, and other appropriate agencies grouped as needed. Besides preventing recurring illegal dumping, the road that could be used as a walking trail for residents and visitors as outlined in the shoreline area plan. We would appreciate the Earth comments to be reviewed. Please keep us informed with the status of our request as well as the cleanup timeline so we can keep our community informed. Respectfully, East Region Town Hall. And that was from March of 2025. I know there has been some work towards it and we appreciate it, but I think the ultimate end goal is the gates is going to be what's going to stop this in the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Do we have anyone else online? No. Do we have anyone in the room? Not seeing any, I'll close public comment, bring it back to the board for possible action.
All right. Do one at a time, Lloyd. Should I do one at a time?
Your board can, for purposes of the motion, can reference all of the properties just as long as they're expressly, each one is expressly stated in that same motion. If your board is looking to take the same action on the, on each and every single one of the properties listed.
All right.
Everybody okay with one motion?
Yes, please.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, so it says, a motion to approve the following lien amounts and direct staff to record a lien against the property with the Lake County Recorder's Office. After recordation, the lien shall be delivered to the county auditor, who shall enter the amount of the lien on the assessment roll as special assessments for 4789 Abbott Road, Lucerne, APN 033-191-15 in the amount of $2,777.48. 5009 Dunstan Road, Lucerne, APN 033-192-11 in the amount of $2,778.49. 5055 Dunstan Road, Lucerne, APN 033-16235 in the amount of $4,484.20. 12574 Mountain View Drive, Clear Lake Oaks, APN 035-20133 in the amount of $2,577.48. 12584 Mountain View Drive, Clear Lake Oaks, APN 035-201-35 in the amount of $2,668.32, and authorize the chair to sign. No.
No need for the authorized chair to sign, since the board is, the motion would be to just record the lien and.
You looked at me and I thought that was the cue.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries 4-0.
I'd like to add one more thing. I know that you're having issues with the cameras, but my concern is if we get these gates up, that these deplorables will go to another area to dump. And I would still like to see if there's any way to be able to levy fines and catch them.
All right, so currently, there's another issue that came to our attention regarding our public nuisance code. That issue has created a hole for, I'm not going to get into that issue, but it's created an issue, and we've noticed that there's gaps in the codes. And one of the things as I took over managers to rewrite the code and have a better seamless code. We've now hired outside counsel to assist us in preparing a new public nuisance code. One thing that we're including there is an illegal dumping ordinance. I believe Supervisor Sabate was provided direction and guidance on this. We're looking at the Butte County ordinance. Part of that ordinance involves vehicle forfeiture, so it'll give the district attorney enforcement power so that if they do catch people dumping, they'll have the ability to an asset forfeiture where they can take the vehicle and seize the vehicle if it's involved in illegal dumping. Also, there will be an immediate illegal dumping fine. So we are looking to fill the gaps in our code, and one of them is with this illegal dumping ordinance. And now we scraped a few dollars together. We had an attorney work with us, an attorney who works through our trade association, the California Association of Code Enforcement Officers. So they are the lead attorney sits on that board. So we looked out, found knowledgeable attorneys to address this issue, and hopefully we'll have that implemented. But that has been a legal dumping order, is something the board has been encouraging and pushing, and finally we're on the cusp of this. And I believe that other issue and this issue pushes to that precipice. So hopefully we can fill these gaps.
Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate that.
Okay, did you have something else? No.
One
Okay, we're
last
gonna go ahead and
point.
close.
The discussion regarding the gates installation, we were hoping to use the funds from this Cal Recycle grant to purchase those gates because it's not in our budget to do so. Those grant funds will expire on June 30th. It is highly unlikely that we'll be able to obtain agreements from every property owner along that parcel, along that road prior to June 30th. So if we do finally find a pathway to getting the gates, we will then encounter the issue of not having any budget funding to purchase the gates. Just wanted the public to have a heads up on that one.
I would look at options because I don't know that you're going to get agreements from people in Hawaii, Arizona, Wyoming, Montana, everywhere else that the owners are. It's more of giving them, I mean, I've seen it happen. The city of Clear Lake has done it multiple times in the avenues and in the park where they've closed off certain areas. As long as there's a way for them to get access to it, you send them a letter. I would check into the other options. I'm not saying like do
I have
this,
had that exact conversation with county council,
but
and
I've seen it be used and it
strict wall of
has
opposition.
not backfired at this moment in time, and those K-rails still exist to keep the area around Pomo School clean of vagrancy, because that's all it was. Massive fires occurred there. And also in the avenues, a lot of those areas are still blocked off without any problems. They contact the city helps them in, and then afterwards they get access. These are vacant lots, paper parcels. The chances of people truly wanting to access those areas versus not wanting to come to our meeting to deal with having to pay for an abatement that occurred on their property, I just think I would look further for other options than getting agreements from people to put a gate, because you're never going to get those agreements.
And
try again.
thank you for that. I think one of the issues, though, is some of these roads were not adopted by the county.
They are private roads.
So they're
There is no
private,
offer
so
of
some of those
dedication.
same vehicle codes that Clear Lake's using are not
Which counts
necessarily-
for, public roads or highways.
Yeah, so there's.
Trust me, they have private road issues too.
Okay.
It's the same.
Right,
The
well,
same county created
this is
the same
we're
problem
getting
in
into a
those areas.
separate discussion, so we can follow up back on that. So we'll go ahead and conclude this item and move to the 6.9, which is a hearing consideration of request for a hearing before the Board of Supervisors for code enforcement actions taken at 12932 3rd Street, Clear Lake Oaks, APN 035-37516. Property owner Eugene Patterson, who is deceased. The requester is Michelle Patterson. And again, I believe we'll need to swear in witnesses. So if you're on Zoom, use the raise your hand feature to be sworn in. If you're in the room, please stand and raise your right hand if you may be providing testimony on this item.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to code enforcement for the next presentation.
Hello?
You're going to stand by, Michelle.
Okay,
You'll
thank
get
you.
a chance to speak.
All right. Again, Marcus Beltramo, manager of the Code Enforcement Division, County of Lake. This is for a hearing for a request made by the current owner of the property. The property is 12932 3rd Street, and this is in Clear Lake Oaks. I'd like to start. This probably is going to take a little bit of explaining. I did my best in the memo. Hopefully, you guys could track it. I'll try to fast track it. I'll do my best. I think the best place to start is what the property looked like in 2012. These images were taken from Google Earth. As you can see on the property, there was a house, a residential home, and a shed. And that was what was on the property in 2012, all the way up to about 2020. Just here's an overview of the property. This is what the property looks like now on Google Earth. It has erected a new fence in the setbacks. Please bear in mind the property has 2 front streets. This is 3rd and it escapes me what this one is right here, but this is a main street. There is two sheds put on there. There is, a 3rd shed in the back, and that's what the crux of this issue is. 3 sheds were placed on this property without approval. The sheds are located, 2 of the sheds are located within the setbacks of the property. So you have structures located in the setbacks. You have a fence that was over height in the setbacks. The fence issue has been corrected somewhat or close to our satisfaction. But the remaining issue are the 3 sheds that were put there without a zoning clearance. At the time, these sheds are about 200 square feet, or they're over 120 square feet. At the time, a building permit was not required by this department or the Building Safety Division. At the time, what the Building Safety Division was enforcing, or their interpretation of the building code, was that 200 square feet or less did not require a building permit. So we are not saying that she needs to get a building permit. We're saying that she needs to get a zoning clearance. The issue with that are that the structures are located within the setbacks of the property, and she would have to work with planning to see if planning would approve or support that. Here's a picture of the fence cut down. It's pretty close. It needs to be about 4 feet in height. Around the corner of a property, it can only go up to 3 feet, but then it has to have see-through material for that extra foot for the 4 feet there. But this is her trying to come into compliance. I do also, I did a side-by-side of the property in 2012 and 2025. Again, this is what the property looks like in 2012. This is what it looks like now. Again, only a home and the shed are allowed. I do also want to make another comment. There's another structure on this property. It's being assessed as a sleeping room. I looked at our codes. There is no code for a sleeping room, but it's been on the property since the 1940s. I'm not an expert in land use, but my opinion would be it's probably non-conforming, conforming at this point. But I would defer to any expert in land use or planning on that. The other issue with the sheds and the sleeping room is that they have unpermitted electrical in them. As you can see, all this wiring, there's boxes here, there's wiring strewn throughout. That wire is being used as permanent electrical wiring. It has to be in a conduit or behind a wall for protection purposes. It is being used as permanent wiring. Ms. Patterson will say that this is just regular wiring. You have to look at the way the wiring is being used, or how the material building structure is being used. In this case, the wiring is being used as permanent electrical, and there are codes about how you have to protect or seal permanent electrical. Here also you can see this is all unpermitted electrical here. In 2020, a building permit was pulled for a like-for-like meter replacement. Ms. Patterson will say that the permit, she believed the permit was kind of for all this stuff. Our opinion, and speaking with our building official who could not be with it here today, agrees that this is all unpermitted electrical and needs to be either removed or permitted. Again, here what the sheds and the sleeping room look like. Our code enforcement officer, Logan Smith, was the officer assigned. He was the individual who took the photos. He was the individual on site. He's the individual that can comment if there's any specific or further questions on these rooms. At this point, we're asking the board to uphold our notice. Oh, there was one other issue for trash. The trash has been somewhat picked up, so that's why I didn't really mention it. The big issue are the sheds, not having a zoning clearance, being located in the setbacks, and the unpermitted electrical. So at this time, staff is recommending the Board of Supervisors uphold the notice of nuisance in order to abate and to move forward with its abatement processes. And Maria would like.
If I could just add a little bit of detail regarding the zoning clearance. A zoning clearance does not correct a violation. But when someone would have come to the counter and the building, or the technicians would have said, you don't need a building permit for your 200 square foot shed, before we became compliant with state law and changed it to 120 square feet. You don't need a building permit, but you do need a zoning clearance, the purpose of which is to make sure that placement of structures are in compliance with the setbacks of the zoning district. These sheds are obviously not in compliance. They are within the setback. So applying for a zoning clearance would not fix the problem. They need to be moved to compliance within those setbacks.
Okay, if they were moved, would it be possible that they would be in compliance with setbacks? Is there?
We would also need to take a look at the accessory space, because sheds count as accessory space, and you add up all of your accessory space usage on a property, weigh it against your primary usage, which is the living space of the home, and if the accessory space outsizes the living space, then you need a minor use permit for what we call a collector's permit, which is just accessory space that is no longer accessory, because it's a lot more than the primary square footage. So it's likely that a minor use permit would also be required.
And then with the sleeping room that's been there since the 1940s.
We would take that in as a legal nonconforming. Typically, anything that's after 1960, we usually will take in as legal nonconforming. The electrical, however, would have to be dealt with. And
is that newer electrical? This is not 1940s electrical.
Additionally, we'd take a look at the use of that room. If it's being rented out as an apartment, it would be required to have the minimum health and safety standards for a dwelling unit, not just like like somebody going and sleeping out in a shed / overnight bedroom.
Okay. Any other questions from board members of staff before we allow Michelle Patterson? Go ahead.
I think that you have enough evidence to say that something needs to be done. The use of the shed is absolutely not appropriate. I'm more worried about the shed itself and the electrical than I am the setbacks, but obviously the setbacks are also a problem. I do have concerns about using, I'm not sure, we don't have I don't think a board policy on using Google Streets or Google Earth, because I know I wanted to look at that on Google Earth. The more you zoom in, the picture changes, but yet it still says it's the same date. And so I'm a little concerned about using that without us having a full-blown board policy of using it as evidence. But I think you have enough evidence for the rest to show that there's absolutely a problem here and that needs to be resolved. So let's clean this up.
All right, Ms. Patterson, do you want to go ahead and present?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And I've been here for about 10 years now, and I really enjoy being a part of the community, and I hope to continue that. As far as the 3 buildings, I've already been working with my real estate lady to get them, they're sold. They're almost sold and being ready to be moved off the property. So I do have the solution for those buildings that are in question. As far as the exposed wire there, I was told not to tack it up there because I was gonna put the ceiling back in place, which is the missing piece to that whole thing. And I don't mind getting an inspection. My husband, who's been dead for a couple of years, handled all of that. And I was told everything was okay and that we were up to snuff. I've been having some financial difficulties, so I hadn't finished putting the ceiling back in place, which should have been done. I have the material to do it now, but I was waiting on what solutions or, where we came at with all of this. So once the buildings are removed here, and my real estate lady Hazel over at Remax is working with me on that. She says she has a buyer for them. So like that's happening here. I tried to get it done beforehand, but I wasn't able to quite get it scheduled yet. But I also had attempted to get a permit and inspection, but was told to hold off until after this interaction was gone through. So, and so that was kind of where I'm at with that. I want to be in compliance. I'm confident of there may be some things that need to be done to be in full compliance, and I'm happy to do that in whatever course and fashion y'all deem necessary. But short of that, I apologize for taking up your time because this wasn't malicious. I was told by the guy that did the inspections that we were fine, and I thought everything was kosher. And after I started getting these threatening letters talking about that they were going to do exactly what's going on here to me, this has been a really difficult thing to navigate, but I want to, and I'm attempting to. Thank you for your time, and have a good day.
Thank you. May I bring it back to the board for anything further or possible?
Did you have she did indicate that she wanted to work and get a permit and.
So she can apply for a permit. You just can't seal those wires up. The electrical has to be approved by our building division, our plans reviewer. So she does need to submit an application. I did talk to Mrs. Patterson earlier today about submitting application, but you don't want to seal that stuff because then our inspectors go there, they can't see it. They can't see how the wiring's done, how it's constructed, how it's fixed or fastened to anything. So we told her to hold off on that right now. Our building official did review it. He didn't think it was an immediate fire risk, but he does believe that there is a small risk there, but she needs to get it removed or permitted. She can work with us on that, but it's up to our building division whether or not they're going to approve the type of wiring. She has two type of wirings right there, and our building official did have some concerns about one of the wires she was using that goes into the panel. So through the permit process, they will work with her to let her know what the code says and what she can and cannot use.
Okay. Anything further? And I think we need to open it up to public comment too. Yeah. General public comment. Do we have anybody in the room? No. Anybody online? No. Okay. Back to the board.
All right. Let's see. I will motion to uphold the notice of a nuisance and order to abate and direct the property owner to voluntarily remove all permitted sheds and electrical within 30 days and to authorize staff to abate the nuisance if it is not voluntarily abated, and that all associated costs of the abatement becomes a charge against the property and placed on the tax rolls as a special assessment.
I have a motion.
Discussion? I'll second, but I'd like to open it up for just a brief comment and discussion, and I apologize for not bringing it up earlier. I'm looking at when she appealed versus when the notice came through. I don't see a date of the NOTA while looking at the NOTA. What was the date of the It's on attachment B, but I don't see a date on it for when it was submitted. I only have front page. It's only a single page. But I guess my question would be, at this moment in time, I asked you that same question last time, has she reached the 50% that where she would get an extension? Because if we give her 30 days, that's an extension in a sense, if she already waited those 30 days. And I have issues with doing that if somebody's not even doing their part. So you don't have a date that you could provide?
I think the memo states the date the notice was issued.
Okay, let
if
me
you have
open
it
the
there.
memo again.
I'll make sure I include the backside. The backside just gives their appeal rights, and they're basically statutory information that requires, but sometimes the date gets pushed to the backside given the way the notice is formatted. These abatements are these type of abatements are tough for us. Ms. Patterson is a good, decent person. She's doing the best she can. We tried to be as compassionate as we can. We tried to work with her the best we could over about a year's time. And so,
So there's been quite the extensions already.
April 15th was the date.
Yeah.
I really hope that there's a solution that she can sell these sheds. That's something that she's mentioned to us a couple times throughout this process. I'm hoping that there's a nonprofit like NCO or Habitat for Humanity that can reach out to her to help her with these sheds. But I just to give you, whatever the board's willing to do, if you're willing to work with her, I think the immediate issue is the electrical. I think that's something that has to be done immediately.
I mean, it depends what shed you're talking about. One of them looks really good. The other one's got a 1-by on the ceiling line, which is not appropriate at all for anybody to purchase that shed and use. My personal opinion is she's already used up 15 days between when you gave her the notice of violation. We have pictures from like October 2025. August, I think it goes back to a little further. If I remember correctly, you've been working with her for quite some time. There's some real issues here. People are sleeping in this type of really not appropriate place. If we give her 15 more days to clean it up and then we take action, I would say yes. If we give her 30 days, I say we've already given her way more than 30 days. Just wanted to open up that dialogue.
Go ahead.
Well, I know that she's got financial issues. Don't see a problem in going ahead and giving her the 30 days. She's had conflicts on what she was told a little bit as far as holding off. She was told to hold off on something. I don't think it's going to hurt us at all to go ahead and give her those 30 days to help her out and see what she can get done. If she's trying to sell them and they have somebody interested, it might take her just a little bit. I'm the one that wants to be a little bit lenient.
I believe the motion on the floor is 30 days, and I'm okay with that unless.
It's up to Supervisor Sabatier if he wants to maintain his second.
I'll still open the second just for the discussion, and I'll vote the way I need to vote. All right.
So there is a motion, and did you second?
Yeah, I second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
That motion carries 3-1 as stated with the 30 days.
Can you second it and then vote nay?
Yeah, you can do
Thank
it.
you.
You can do that.
Okay.
I just did.
Because I would have seconded it.
And we're going to move on to our 6:10 item, our 11 a.m. item,
I haven't seen that.
setting as the Lake Sand Board of Directors, consideration of a request for quarterly report of Lake Sand infrastructure status. This was placed on by Supervisor Sabatier, so I believe you're going to open it.
Yeah.
Supervisor. And we do have our Director of Special Districts and staff here.
And our CMOM. I don't know what it really stands for. I never look at that, but I know it's our CMOM. Mr. Coates.
Supervisor Sabatier.
So I'm bringing this is something I've been wanting to bring for a couple of months, a few months. I wanted to wait for our emergency to be done because I know there was some a lot of energy and effort being placed not just on the other infrastructure that Lake Sand takes care of, but specifically to the emergency. I thought it would have been rude to duplicate that right on top of the workload that they were already dealing with. This has nothing to do with the folks that are working on the infrastructure today. This is decades in the making, where the Board of Supervisors, we have an assessment of our buildings. We understand what our building's status is. We understand what the needs and the priorities for our buildings for maintenance and upgrades are. We also know that for our road infrastructure, and we also can visually see these things. We are talking about systems, and specifically I put down for Lake San. I guess I would be open for the idea of other systems, but I also don't want to make it that much more difficult in dealing with the capacity needs in order to get these reports. So Lake San is southeast, northwest. We just did Land's End, Middletown, and Anderson Springs are all Lake San. Nothing else. It wouldn't be Kelseyville. It wouldn't be the lighting district. It wouldn't be the water districts. Lake San is only the sanitation districts. Everything else is separate and is part of special districts. I'm getting a look.
Well, I believe that Kelseyville wastewater is technically part of Lake San, as well as Corinthian Bay is part of Lake San, and the Geyser affluent pipeline is also part of Lake San.
You're right about the effluent pipeline. I am going to say I disagree with Kelseyville, because Kelseyville Waterworks was created in the 1940s, and eventually in the 70s, 60s is when it added the sanitation, but it has never been a part of Lake San. It's always been a separate entity, which is why we come here as Kelseyville Waterworks to make decisions for Kelseyville Waterworks and not as Lake San. And that's how it shows on the formation documents, because the formation documents are only water, was never a part of Lake San. Unless something else is shown to me. I know I've had a conversation with our county council about this, and that does not seem to be the case at this moment in time. But again, I'm looking only at the specific Lake San infrastructure, not everything else that special districts deals with, because that's a whole lot of other things. What we don't see under the dirt is easy to forget about until we see it come above the dirt. And it's the last thing that any of us want to see. And so I think that we have a lack of understanding as a board as to what the status of these systems are. And I think that our public, especially with some of the experiences that have just occurred in the recent past, would also like to better understand what is happening with those systems. And I think that having a quarterly report to understand what the level of inspections are, what the level of fixes are, as you saw on the list of the memo, and I'm happy to discuss that and see what would be appropriate and not appropriate. I think it would be healthy for all of us to have a better understanding, to better prioritize, and to better budget on how best to implement the needs of the infrastructure for the future, and making sure that we stay on top of it. I think that it is easy to forget because it's under the ground, and I'm not saying our department forgets, but I think that we need to have a better focus on it as a board, and having a quarterly report would help us have that access to the information and better understand what our actions need to be from this perspective. It's really not a more robust presentation that's needed. It's in the memo, and that is my reason for bringing it to the board for discussion.
Okay. Do we have any questions from board members right at this point, or do we want to hear from director? I do have some questions, but I'll wait and see if the director wants to offer any information.
Yeah, so I prepared an approximate asset list for our wastewater systems. It does include Kelseyville, Corinthian Bay on here as well, so either don't pay attention to it, but it's just for your information. I've provided the clerk with a copy as well, and I'm going to give.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to provide any other input at this point?
Yeah, so this list just gives you kind of an overview of each different system based on the actual wastewater plants and the collection systems that they discharge to. So they're Southeast, Middletown, Anderson Springs, which is kind of its own beast, but discharges ultimately to Middletown. There's Kelseyville, Corinthian Bay, Land's End, South Lakeport that we've been talking about recently, Northwest, wastewater plant, and then the geyser effluent pipeline, just to give you an idea of how many miles of pipeline there are underground, how many manholes there are, kind of the nature of the beast of what we're looking at. So, and we don't disagree that this information is needed and should be readily available. But I wanted to emphasize and give you an idea of where we are, what information we have, where the information is, and the difficulty of coming up with all of this information versus, alternatives of what we're working on. So right now, primarily all of our documents are in paper form and they're not stored in one place. So any lift station information, odor control, that kind of stuff, that's at each individual lift station. There's a logbook and information at each lift station. Additionally, each staff member that works in the field fills out a daily report of what they worked on that day. It has, a brief description of it. It has some of this information on it. So that's another source. And then we have work orders or service requests that either we put in to have something done or a customer calls in with requests, and that's in CAMS. Then we have our SL-RAT system, which is that's the measure when they run from manhole to do the conditions of the pipes. There's another system for grease trap inspections and reporting. There's line cleaning and manhole inspections are primarily done in paper, and then they're submitted to the CMOM to consolidate for our annual reports. And then the CCTV footage, we recently applied for a grant and did not receive that. But Albert only does that as an as-needed basis. It's in yet another system, but it's also not rated at this point. That's a whole nother process that Albert would have to go to. And so to gather all of this information on a quarterly basis, we're estimating that it's going to take, by the time we have the seniors and the superintendents, additional staff time, office staff, including the CMOM, it's going to be about 4 FTEs to compile and report on this data on a quarterly basis, because it's basically something that they're going to have to be gathering on a weekly basis and consolidating. Additionally, admin is a little short-staffed at this point without a deputy and our capital project manager and some other shifts that are being made. And so we fear that this could go against some of the proactive work that we've been working on. We did recently shift stuff around and create 5 maintenance workers positions that are, right now, they're in Southeast strictly to do line cleaning, SL-RAT, and smoke testing to try and gather some of this information and do improvements to the system and make sure the maintenance is being done. And so, some of that will, additional reporting takes away from some of that. The supervision and guidance of the superintendents and seniors that will have to gather some of this information will be pulled away from line staff. Dig-ups and repairs, job prep, that kind of stuff could get pushed out. And then this doesn't include anything that we do on a regular basis to the water system, hot taps or valve replacements, that kind of stuff. And additionally, right now we're trying to be proactive on where we have a remaining time. We have a lot of compliance that the admin staff is working on, so it could impact our ability to go after grant funding and CIP oversight and project management kind of stuff at that point. We are trying to be very proactive in gathering this information. During the CIP process, there's a project in there to purchase a new all-inclusive system, which includes a new billing system, which is direly needed to track our systems and record those revenues correctly, as well as it has a bunch of integrated other modules, which includes a CMMS. The CMMS is a computerized maintenance management system, which is required by the state. We got a violation in 2023 that was not addressed, and the CMMS has never been purchased or implemented. So we really need to get that done, and that is part of the new project. It also would have all of our work orders, track our maintenance repairs, It would have a CIP module, a grant module, and it can, so all of the information would be then start to be gathered in one place for easier reporting. That system also has what they call dashboards that we believe that we could set up so that each of you, or, you know, we could even put it on our website, certain information where, you know, people can see in real time what's been going on. If they want to pull up, you know, District 2 and see what's going on in all of our systems in District 2, you could, you know, we can build dashboards to provide, you know, generic information as well as more detailed information for internal staff. And so currently we do, as you guys know, we do an annual governance report, which is generic. It's not split out by systems. So we gather all of this and give you this is how many linear feet, but it doesn't tell you by system and that kind of stuff. So we would like to continue to do that and focus on the installation of the new system. If the project is approved, we do plan on coming on July 7th to award that contract. It's a Sourcewell contract, so it's already been competitively bid, and it's a fully government software package, so it's best practices of the industry. It's only used by governments, so it checks a lot of boxes, and it makes you build your system on best practices versus a homegrown system where this is how we've always done it, moving towards this is how everybody does it. And so I have Albert Coates here. He's our CMOM. And in the back, we have Chris Becker and Ignacio Gutierrez, two of our superintendents, and Lori Baca, our utility system compliance coordinator, in case you have any specific operational or maintenance kind of questions.
Okay, go ahead.
So just in response to that, I think some of the things you highlighted are exactly why I want to ask for these things, to have us on board and pushing towards a better system. Because saying that things are logged in on paper at each individual lift station and saying that we have to translate from something that's on paper to the CMOM to put it all into a different system, we need to be supportive in putting technology in the hands of your staff so that those numbers, the work orders they accomplish could automatically go into a system where at a push of a button, you should be able to get a report because it's the same report that you're showing every single quarter. And so to me, it's part of that conversation. And so I am happy to implement that in the process of getting to there, but I want us to get there sooner than later, and how do we get there as soon as possible? I will do a caveat, and I apologize for the caveat. Please have a conversation with us. When I say us, myself, the auditor controller, and the tax collector about going to Tyler. There's some concerns that have been brought up on the timing of that, so please let's have that conversation. I apologize. But getting you the systems you need, it is difficult because we haven't been given the knowledge or the understanding of your status in your workflow and your work capacity. Knowing that, we should have already had those tools in your hands a long time ago. I mean, I know that you're also not, I don't mean this in a negative way, you're not up to date on some of the SCADA stuff that should have been installed a long time ago. And that to me should have been done years ago. I heard about it, that it was being installed. I didn't know how much was not being installed in other places. So I think having these conversations leads us to a better understanding and a better level of being able to support. Is it going to cost money? Absolutely. But when we are all together, rather than you working in your special districts world and we don't have that same knowledge to be able to support that, we're not going to be able to get to the same place at the same time frame that we're all looking to get there. And so to me, I'm willing to say, let's wait 30 to 60 days, let's get the software, let's make it happen, and then let's start the quarterly reports. I would like to see some options coming back on how it is that we can get to the quarterly report. I don't want to slam a square peg in a round hole that just won't fit at this moment in time. But what we have currently is not an appropriate and efficient system to get us the information we need to best work on the infrastructure that is aging. And I want to be helpful. I'm sure the board wants to be helpful. And we want to make your job a little bit easier. And I think the more transparent we are everybody's going to be on board with what we're doing. This is not meant to be a punishment tool of, I want you guys to do more work because it feels better if I give you more work. But I just think that we're also going to help you get to a place where your job becomes a whole lot easier because of it.
Yeah, and I thank you for bringing up SCADA, because that's also another one of our projects in the CIP is, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, the state of our SCADA in this county. You literally have to go to each plant to see the SCADA. They're all running on different stuff. Nothing's coherent. The one in Spring Valley is running on Windows 97 or something.
That's not supported, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And so our SCADA basically crashed in Soda Bay, so we started there. But we have in the budget to come back with have somebody come in, look at all the system, build an integrated one that runs on its own network, so it doesn't run the risk of being hacked into the county network. But so that, I mean, the guys can, they get an alarm and they don't have to drive to the lift station to turn on a pump, or, they can do some stuff as they're responding, as well as just the overall reporting and stuff that comes from that. And I mean, they should be able to pull up on a screen and see what's going on at any given moment, and they shouldn't have to go to each site.
Flipping through
Paper.
folders and binders. And, yeah. So I'm just looking to inform us, also simultaneously be able to inform the public. It is their system. It is within their street areas, and so it obviously has an impact on them when it doesn't work. But it's also mostly to help us be able to understand what it is that you need and why we should support what you need, because where you are is not adequate and is not fulfilling the 21st century standards of what we should be doing. And so I think it would be helpful, and that's why I brought this item in order to get us on the same page and moving towards goals that will be very helpful.
Okay, so I asked Albert to come just because of his expertise in his advanced certifications he has with the state. He's our CMOM. We didn't have a CMOM for a very long time. He came in, October 2024? And so he's been doing a lot of stuff, getting us up to where we need to be. He's looking at new technologies, especially with like force mains. You can see on the sheet, we have miles of force main, and they're not regular gravity pipe. We can't just, pop the manhole and stuff a camera in there. So if you guys want some insight onto any of that, he's here as well.
I will say, I want to find a way. Maybe we don't have the system set up to be able to do inspections, but when it comes to the force main, but I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what you should be doing in your field that I have no expertise whatsoever, but I know that the entirety of the system concerns me, from the lift station operation to the generators that you're using, to the gravity pipelines, to the force main, like all of it due to, and this is not a Lake County problem. Everybody built these systems at approximately the same time, and everybody is having very similar problems. Maybe some are unique, some are not, but the infrastructure of the things that are used to bring us drinking water, the infrastructure that we use to get rid of our sewage, it's coming up to a date where problems are being seen. And again, want to be helpful, want to be supportive, and want to lead us in the right direction.
So I'll give you guys a little background of who I am. My name is Albert Coates. I'm the Capacity Management and Operations Maintenance Coordinator, CMOM. Stick with that. For special districts, I've been here since November of 24. I came from Ross Valley Sanitary District, which is the oldest sanitary district in California, formed in 1899. They had the same issues you guys had. When I started in 2010, they had a huge spill. They had 5 different softwares. They didn't have a CMMS. They're now recognized as one of the top sanitary districts in California. They had to do a lot of, they had to get a CMMS first. I think if there's one thing you guys take away from this, and I told Bruno the first time we talked, I said, every day that goes by that we don't have that, we're behind. It is an asset-based software that everything is an asset, whether it's a pump, whether it's a person, a vehicle. Right now, we currently have 5 different softwares and books that we're pulling stuff from. So when I got here, I recognized that and just started making databases of what I thought we should track. The force main does have a way of testing it without turning it off. It's not necessarily the best or most accurate. We could do some potholes in certain spots and maybe test it to see the integrity of it. Most force mains are not going to make it past 75 years. Looking at the one we had a spill, we saw that was mid-70s. So what I would say, 50 years. So what I would say is we could test it, but realistically it needs to be replaced in 25 years. And the cost to replace those is astronomical. So what I would recommend is starting a CIP fund right now. So in 20 years it's funded, because you're going to have to open cut probably the entire thing. And this isn't the only place that's like that, like Bruno said. It's nationwide, statewide. You're going to see more force main replacements going on all over the country because they're failing. And there's no real way to test them. They are under pressure. We could come up with a plan where we could test it by creating a plan to bypass, have pumpers ready, worst case scenario, dewater it, cut it into a location or take a valve out, camera up to 950 feet is the farthest we can go, and stop at any turn because I can't make a turn in a camera. We could also hire a contractor to put in a sonar floating device and float through the whole thing. Quite expensive, but you know, with AI and everything, they're able to identify what we can't see with our eyes. So, I mean, that's just high level. There's so many different variables that I bring to Robin on a daily basis. There are challenges each system, and I will say as far as the quarterly report, I totally agree that we need it. I think we're not set up currently. It would take more man hours, and I think that's historically why sanitation districts haven't been able to, because there's so many variables. You've asked for certain things. Next week you may ask for something else that we haven't been tracking. So once we get a CMMS and we start putting everything in and our employees are tracking it, we're going to be able to just push a button and give you that information. But right now it's going to take a lot of staff hours. It's usually why most decades before they would just do yearly or semi-annual reports. It just takes a lot of staff hours to get what you want, because what you want today may not be what you want tomorrow. It may not be what someone else wants. And so it's very, even though you've narrowed it down what you want right now, I think it would be ideal to wait till we get the CMMS, because everything will be in there. Whether it's a pump, whether it's a pipe clean, whether it's an employee, whether it's a vehicle, will be in there and tracked. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind as we move forward. It may be, I totally agree that we need quarterly reports. I just think it's premature, especially considering we're just getting this system, finally, making me smile because I'm creating databases on a daily basis, unfortunately.
Did you say July 7th that is coming to us?
July 7th is our plan to bring the contract to award to you. At that time, I believe it's module-based, and so we can talk to the vendor as to which module gets implemented first. We were thinking that billing and CMMS would be the first ones. In addition to what the office will have, the field guys will also have remote devices, either iPads or tough books or something like that, where when they go to a manhole to do inspection, it's not like clear. They'll have specific information that they need to fill out onto the report that then it gets automatically uploaded. It's integrated into the system. So then, they know what they need to log, what they're looking for, more notes that what they can put in there. And they'll also have access to, part of our problem, they don't have access to actual digital maps in the field. And so they're going around with like paper maps looking for manholes that have been buried. And we're kind of like Fred Flintstone at this point.
And this is why I bring this to the board. I do want to push you guys to get out of the Fred Flintstone era and get us to where we need to. I don't want to wait for it. I want to push for it simultaneously by supporting you and giving you what you need for it. So I would like to still hope that we can get some level of a quarterly report and expand on that. And when I say expand, I know you said you might want to change your mind. We need to have a set what the report looks like, or else we're going to be comparing apples to oranges over the course of the many years that we collect these. It needs to be verifiable that, ooh, why are we doing less and less inspection? What's going on? Let's have a conversation. Or great, we're doing more and more inspections. I mean, we're being more efficient, or maybe we expanded our team, whatever the case might be. We have to be able to have good comparables, or else we're just getting information for the sake of getting information.
Well, in there, when we get the system, there may be a bunch of other reporting criteria that nobody knows that you want, but is kind of standard information. So, we'll be able to provide all of that. And I think once we get that, when they come to the award, I've asked them to do kind of a demo so that you could kind of get a look and feel of what it would be.
I do want to add in that among some of my certifications, I have the NASCO, which is the National Association of Sanitary Sewer Companies. I'm certified to inspect and code pipes, laterals, and manholes. We're looking, and that's how, when I send crews out now, it used to be they would write clear if they looked at a manhole. Now I have set specifications that are national specifications that I presented to them they have to give to us. So that's going to be integrated in there. And I know that she's looking to get other employees certified to do that. It's quite a bit for me to try to do my position and go camera at the same time, because that is very time consuming. But I just do want to let you guys know that I do have that certification, and that's what we hold all of our current employees to when I send them out to check something, is to the standard that's national. It's not, face north and guess what you want to put in there. There's set standards for everything we do now.
Nice.
A little bit more detail than we're good.
Yeah. But I should be fair, because we don't have the systems, I've had to modify that to make it as simple as possible for, number one, the people I'm teaching, but also for me to input, because I don't think every field without a computer system I need to track. There's quite a few. I mean, one manual, I think it's 100 things that you would input that most people aren't even aware of. So.
And so, as I stated, I would still like to make a request for the quarterly reports to start. We can phase it in to make it as easy at first, but still get some information. And as the system goes live, we can start making it a whole lot easier and getting more and more information. And I guess that direction would be to either work with our CAO to figure out, like, what is the board expecting, or to work with a couple of supervisors to meet and discuss what we are expecting. I understand that there is a workload that comes with it, and if it's possible to phase it in, support you with the software you need, and slowly see it getting a whole lot easier and a whole lot more detailed, and then figuring out what those details are, and you're going to know more about what details are available than any of us. That would be my preference in how to move forward.
Do you have questions, Supervisor Hahn?
I do. I do agree that the reports are important. At the same time, I don't want it to come at the cost of progress. I do have a question. I know that 5.9, I believe, was pulled, but one of the questions I had, and I don't know if you're going to be here earlier, so I'm going to ask it now, and it pertains to the installation of sewer collection lines and associated with manholes to serve the development projects. With the current issues with our force mains, adding more to the system are we risking more breaks?
So that's a good question.
Putting more pressure on the system. It's a question.
Yeah, so as we get big projects such as the one that we're going to talk about in a little while, there is a capacity analysis that is done by licensed engineers, and they have our model of all of our pipes and where their project's going to be, and they put all that additional flow in and come up with an additional capacity fee of impacts that just they are solely going to put onto the system. So that was done on that system, and they're burdened with another $400 and some thousand in addition to regular connection fees, just to make up for capacity expansion and capacity that needs to be done in the system.
Okay, so we're not putting us at risk.
No.
Okay, good. That's what I needed to
Yes,
know.
we look at each project as we go through. We're also in the process of updating our model. So I think the last time it was done like 2008. So we have some ARPA money from the CAO's office, and they started with Southeast.
Yeah, I was just worried with the fragile system, obviously.
I do want to reiterate that the system isn't fragile. It's aged. It's always under pressure, so it's not going to be any different.
Okay,
I did
good.
want to, I know that was the question. So it's
Yes.
not going to add pressure. What she's talking about is that do we have enough capacity to take on that additional sewer? But
Okay.
the force main's always under pressure. It's always
Okay.
working. It's always
Okay,
aging just a little.
okay.
And
Thank you.
you guys also earlier approved our on-call contracts, and the first task order is going to be to work on the southeast headworks where we have multiple pipes coming into one smaller pipe, and so that also reduces pressure and increases flow and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So we're looking at when big projects come in, what that funding can go to, because it's specific for capacity increases and expansions to the plants.
Perfect, thank you.
And I think the apartment complex that you're alluding to is on a separate force main coming out of the avenues, and so it doesn't mix with the rest of the tree streets and everything else. Has a different direction that it goes to.
Yeah, we have several different, one comes from 4, one comes from 2, drops into a manhole, goes into 1, and then we have the 2 coming out of 1. So we have several around the county.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't increasing our risk.
Yeah, and
And they're not fragile.
Okay,
I want to make sure that the public, I want to make sure you guys know and the public knows they're not fragile, they're aged. It's an asbestos, it's a concrete pipe that's been there since, according to that one at least, the 70s. So it's got 50 years on it, but it's been working. There are going to be issues. Think about how many earthquakes happen every day that we don't feel. That's adjusting and moving those pipes slowly. And that's what usually causes force mains to have issues, usually.
I probably didn't choose the right word with the word fragile.
Got me. Got me.
I can see that.
That was a trigger word, because I've heard so much.
But those capacity studies are really good to look at because they do look at all the gravity gravity feed, what's the capacity left for the amount of sewage that will be utilized, all the way through to the end where it goes to the treatment pond. So it's really good information. They don't do it for every project, they do it for the larger projects.
All right, getting back to the report, I have some questions. I do think we have to get this computer system. That's critical.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we see that in July. We can get that handled. In the meantime, my concern would be I don't want to do an order from this board where we're causing 4 staff members to be tied up all the time. So is there a way we can get some sort of a report that's a reasonable report that's going to give us information that's not going to take staff away from working on projects that need to be done?
Maybe we could look at doing just one system and ironing out all of the details of what you guys want. We're hitting Southeast pretty hard. We literally have 5 guys cleaning lines and SL ratting and gathering a lot of data there. So maybe to reduce some of the burden, we just focus on Southeast. It is our largest sewer system. Northwest is not much smaller, but it's we do have a lot more activity going on in Southeast right now. I don't know how much, Albert's looking at me funny, it may not save him much time, but it would save the other UA areas that time, because it is for all of the systems, not just one.
Would you be okay?
And I'd be fine with that. Obviously, I would be fine with that. And I'm still willing to say, give me some phasing options, not the complete report. I just think we need to get started somewhere, and not getting started, I would have a problem with. Getting started and slowly phasing it in and figuring it out is the direction that I would like to go.
So the one thing I want to say to that is that when I saw your list that you guys provided, I've already started tracking some of that information that I feel is valuable, the pipe cleans and stuff like that. There are some things that I don't have, and I just don't have. So there's some things, because even though I knew that she may ask for it quarterly or yearly, I require it from the superintendents to send me monthly. So I'm trying to stay ahead of it. So I have some of that information available right away. It's just not, some of the stuff that you asked for, unfortunately, like she said, is in binders at a lift station and every lift station. And until we get that system, I could go to every one of them and spend hours and write down each and every one, but I think I want to try to give you guys as much information as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, and be consistent and give you the correct information. Some of the stuff you asked for, we just haven't been tracking, so it's going to take a lot to just get to the starting point on that. Once we get the computerized system, every single thing will be trackable.
So it sounds to me like you're saying it's possible to phase it in and start with Southeast.
We could with some of the things.
I'm not asking for saying
Yeah,
phase.
I could give her information by, I want to go home today, but by the end of tomorrow.
No. At least on the memo, it requests to start as of October 1st for the first report, giving you 3 months from today. I'm not looking for 3 months from before, because I don't want you to not be set up to start this. I want you to be aware if we're saying yes, then you can start making sure that you're ready for that collection. And let's start with what you are collecting and eventually expand to what can be collected based on the introduction of systems and whatnot.
I just want to say that I'm actually encouraged that you guys are wanting to know what's going on, on a quarterly basis, because like you said, we're just underground and most of the time we're forgot about until it comes out. And
It's the best until it's not.
And, as someone, and they, I don't want to go into my whole background, but I'm considered what they call a subject matter expert. It's a little frustrating for me when all of a sudden everybody's the Google expert, and I want to try to give you guys the best information that I can with the time allotted and what we have. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm sure Robin will send me a list.
I think we should start with what they can reasonably give us with the system now and get that in October, and then hopefully by July we can buy a system.
The thing about that system, and I want to let you guys know, is once we get it, we have to implement it.
No,
So we have to
understood,
put all
yeah.
the information in. So
It's not going to be immediate.
It's usually, and for a maintenance, like our superintendents, what'll happen is after they clean a few lines and they start getting the information, it's going to tell him where he's going to be cleaning a year from once we get it. But initially, they got to go to we're going to start from
Right.
square one again.
We still need to open this to the public too, so.
Well, and we're going to have to put a lot of that information into the system once we get it. So
Right.
that's why it's going to take, they're estimating a year to a year and a half for full implementation. Of course, we're looking at doing the 2 items first.
Right. So we okay with opening to the public at this point? Okay, we'll open it up to the public comment. Did you want to provide some information?
Christopher Becker, Superintendent of Southeast District. I did want to say thank you for your support and interest in Southeast and all of the sewer system, like Albert had just said. I appreciate the phase-in process, and I was requesting that we start with maintenance that we're already doing, because we're already gathering that data, and we can hold off on the lift stations and the things, and we can identify the weak points by starting the phase-in process. So that was my request. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys and your time.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room that wishes to provide public comment? Not seeing anyone in the room. Do we have any online? We do not. So I'll go ahead and close public comment, bring it back to the board for final direction.
I'm okay with simple consensus direction. I don't think it needs to be a motion, but it would be nice to get a check-in in July when we do bring us the software contract, just to get an idea of where you are with the status of creating the phased-in approach. That would be awesome.
I'm good with that. Everybody's good with that, so that'll be the consensus then. Yeah, all right. Thank you. With that, we're going to go ahead and conclude this item, and we're going to go on lunch break until 1:30.